Hello, hello. Hi, everybody. The servers are... Let's friggin' go. That was a little bit wild. A whole hour of ROK being down. The general chat in the official ROK Discord was absolutely popping off. I actually just sat here and read read Discord. It was actually kind of fun. And I guess some people were still in the game. There's a bunch of Kingslands going on right now. And so everything's just a little bit off. You can see that even my icons are a little bit off here. Oh, I just had to click one and now they're all back squared away. So we are squared away here. Live stream starting a little bit late because I could not get on the game. But we are squared away now. And ready to go. Let me get another heal going in my hospital here. Oh yeah, everybody's shielded. Everybody's nice and shielded. We were already real comfy in Kingsland. And so now we're even more comfy. Because not only are we on territory, not only do we own all of the passes into the zone, or yeah, well, our allies own the other passes into the zone, so we're super safe already here in Kingsland. Our allies in Watercamp have the buffs of the Great Ziggurat to improve their combat ability, but to top it all up, now we're shielded. Now we're full shielded. Or game shielded attacks for a full another 10 seconds. Oh my gosh. So a bunch of people were off territory in various Kingslands. And let's take a look as far as, you know, what's going to happen here if actually all the shields do wear off here. What's the kingdom that was in? Let's check this one. Wait, what? Did I not write these down? 1 second. Yeah, because there's a bunch of KLs. I don't know if it's... Isn't it 1981? Didn't I write that? Yeah, let's take a look at this Alliance Invictus here. And see if anything's actually going nuts. Stebo, welcome to the stream. Okay, so according to the system, my peace shield is off. But what about the rest of these shields? Looks like the shields are still on. Looks like everyone is still shielded here. Baby Yoda still has a shield. What does this say? I'm remaining. This flag is being protected by a shield. It cannot be attacked, nor can it be used to build flags further afield. I think that's not related to the downtime. I think that's a skill in this KvK. But yeah, people should be starting to log back in now. And a bunch of these Kingslands will continue on. You won't be able to rally people's cities, but you will be able to burn down their flags and take territory, which at this point is basically more important. I'm sure in all of these KvKs, 1 or 2 people got zeroed, maybe 3 or 4 people got zeroed. But at this point, you just have to get your players back on because, you know, there should be fighting. You can tell it's quiet because aren't there usually markers up that say, oh, like, here's the fight. Let's see what's happening over here. Everything's very quiet in this Kingsland. Let's see if there's a better one. Let's see if there's one where, like, a bunch of stuff is happening. So it looks like Alliance Invictus is in Kingsland. Is that what's going on? Oh, that's a big one. I do like these these battle markers where you can see where fights are. That's pretty cool. So this one has 1885 in it, has 2934 in it. Let's take a look at this one. Okay. Oh, so DVL's in this one, W34X is in this one. Let's take a look. Mad Mania, welcome to the stream. Doing well, man. I'm doing very, very well. You know, before I sort of get into my own stuff, which, you know, of course, you all know that I love to talk about myself. I'm trying to get the lay of the land here with ROK in general, with the servers having just come back up a few minutes ago. Everybody throw a like on the stream. Let's get a little hype going. Let's get some more people in here. Let me share this. Let me share this in a few places. Let me share it in the Lost Kingdom. So, we've got an arrow tower, or what looks like an arrow tower here. Maybe it's not an arrow tower. What kind of tower is this? It's a stronghold. Okay. What is a stronghold? Anybody know? I guess I could Discord search this real quick. Stronghold. Is that just a regular flag? Oh. What? Anybody know what's different about this flag here? Don't they look different? This is Alliance Invictus. Man, Mania says I was panicked. I was off territory garrisoning Allied flags. Yeah, I mean, I could tell people were kind of freaking out. The YouTuber Kane was live streaming, I think, when this happened, and I guess he got kicked out, and he was saying that he was watching on Discord, like he was watching a Discord stream of his city getting rallied, and then like as his city was getting rallied for the first time, the shields went up. All the shields went up. Well, it looks like the shields do wear off once you do stuff, maybe? Because a lot of people here don't have their shield anymore. But the shield stays in place for... You know what it is? It's probably people who haven't logged in, right? Because once I logged in, my shield wore off very, very quickly. So I'm guessing these system shields wear off as soon as you log back into the game. So we can kind of see which team is better at getting people back online right away. Because some of these alliances here have almost everybody still offline. Like, look at this 40 OU. They've got at least like half their people here that still haven't logged in. Jessica hasn't logged in. Doe Kills hasn't logged in. Matty Ice did log in. Bunch of randos haven't logged in yet. X-Drugs Bunny is still offline. Like, X-Drugs Bunny is literally still offline right now. Whereas Pickle Rick is back. You know, Pickle Rick got back on. Giga Sailor got back on. Let's figure out what camp... Oh, there we go. Yeah, pretty great new features in the spectating world of ROK, where you can actually just like make one of the camps blue. Memania says, aren't they the ones you were meant to be able to rally out of and stuff? The outposts. Okay, so there's like outposts where you can like stuff troops in. I think what outposts are is when if you're a leader of an alliance, people can volunteer to have their troops like taken out of their cities and put in an outpost. And they're almost like backups. That's not quite right. Let me see if I can get this. Let me see if I can answer this better. Yeah, so there's like a bunch of changes to the new KvK formats, and it does take a little bit of time to figure out how it all works. Here we go. Alliance outposts. You can upgrade any alliance flag into an alliance outposts. Not only do alliance outposts have all the functionality of an alliance flag, they can also be used to loan troops to your alliance. Your alliance leader and officers can use these lone troops to garrison buildings and launch rallies. So I think basically you put troops in an outpost, and then officers can move those troops to a different flag. Is pretty much what I think is going on with these outposts. So I guess it's a little interesting that they've made them on the front lines, because you almost think you'd want it in the back. It would just be just as useful to have it in a flag that is more protected, that's more safe, because then you could just send outpost troops from the back flag into the frontline flag. So let's see what's going on here in this King's Land. This King's Land feels a bit over, actually. Looks like turquoise and blue are in deep, deep trouble here. Not able to deal with DVL, which is obviously a very strong alliance. Let's let's take a look at this coalition here. 185. Oh, LN93 is in this KvK as well. Oh yeah, so this is like a pretty stacked coalition here with 1185, 1393, which you can see at 1393 is super duper stacked. I think they're 14-2 in KvKs, something like that. And then UB93 is from 1393. So this is a pretty stacked Greenwood camp here. And then what side is DVL on? Oh, DVL's here, okay. So DVL is, it looks like DVL is losing, actually. Looks like DVL is losing. Oh, Fox. We've played with Fox before. Yeah, Kingdom 1020. We've played with Fox. I think Fox was allied with 1903 when they kind of shit the bed in Kingsland when they were our allies. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's correct. So yeah, DVL's getting pushed back pretty hard by the combined forces of 1185 and 1393 in this KvK. And they even they're even getting close to breaching some of their entrances into Kingsland here. You see that they're wrapping around, burning these flags. Looks like they're free burning these flags here because although you have the DVL King here, Bo Nasser. Look, King versus King. Here's Vivian. Here's Vivian from 1393 right next to Bo Nasser. You have the King here, but you don't have any cities ported around this flag here. So looks like 1393 is getting very, very close to breaching this pass here into Kingsland, which is already inactive for some reason. So I'm not sure. I think this Kingsland opened pretty recently. I think all these Kingsland opened very recently, like earlier today, basically. Did I say shit the bed? Yes. I think it's like a pretty common term. Because I'm not sure I know who Life is a Glitch TV is, but I'm pretty sure it's, yeah, shit the bed is a, you know, common term for losing Kingsland within, you know, 24 hours, basically. And just like letting the enemy free burn you quite a bit. I think that's like an official ROK term for subpar Kingsland performances. So yeah, that is what's happening in Alliance Invictus. Let's very quickly look to see if there's any other ones that are popping off a little bit. I know 1875 was in one of these. Let's see what's going on with 1875. Oh, 1875 is in a camp with somebody else? What? Okay. Yeah, so 1875 is alt. Oh, a StarCraft channel. Okay. Oh, so this isn't even called Kingsland. This is called Heliopolis. I guess this is Nile. I guess this is the Nile KvK. Like, holy crap, Nile? So, in this one almost looks like this was never meant to be a serious fight. Just based on the way that things are built, right? Like, I don't think that... So, it's 1875 here in purple, right? I don't think you build like this if you think you're going to have a tough fight. Like, there's just no, like... I mean, they took the... They already are covering the entire Zig. And there's no, like, back flagging, no, you know, thick flag lines. They literally just raced to the enemy as quickly as possible, which I guess is what you always do, but... Oh, okay, here's how you know it's not serious, right? Here's how you know this is not a serious fight. They didn't even take this pass. They didn't even take this level 10 pass here. Sean Kirby, welcome to the stream. Thank you all for being here. We are recovering from ROK being down for an entire hour. I like the fact that Byte is talking in LKC, because I think Byte might make an appearance later on in the stream. Especially if Matba stops by, I'm definitely gonna... If Matba stops by the stream, I will definitely give Byte a little bit more attention here. No, Byte, my famous line is, and I will see you all on the flip side. That's my famous line, right? Natsu, welcome to the stream. Knight says, do we get 690 gold heads? The players in general chat on Discord were definitely negotiating for the 690 gold heads. There was a lot of people saying 690 gold heads or Riot. So let's see if they gave it to us. Looks like we haven't gotten the 690 heads yet. But I definitely need them. I definitely need the 690 heads. Okay, so I want to test something. Will that work? Because it's kind of weird, right? Like, no matter what I do, I can never get non-simplified graphics. You know, I can never see the full marches anymore. Algebra, welcome to the stream. Yeah, we're kind of, I guess we're kind of getting into it now. The excitement of the server being back up has somewhat worn off. Oh, the other thing I want to test is... What do I want to test? Unit models per troop, standardized troop models. What I want to do is I want to mess with the hide alliance, like alliance info filter mode. You know, where people can't see the chat and stuff. Block emojis, quick chats. Yeah, I'm looking to hide the alliance chat. So that people don't, you know, so that we have alliance privacy. But I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing that. Well, I'll have to mess with that later, I guess. Because there's some way to, you know, to block all the markers and to hide the chat and stuff like that. But anyway, we'll mess with it later. All right, so yeah, we are enjoying the spoils of war at this point. We are chaining barbs. We are getting very nice runes from the Great Ziggurat. We're doing level 15 barb forts. Oh, train. Yeah, see, we're doing level 15 barb forts, and we're just recovering, right? We're just recovering. Yeah, okay, so this is like a great example. This is a great example of life in Kingsland. Tell me that this does not have every single... Tell me that this does not have every single rune you could possibly want. 10% defense, 15% training, 15% AP recovery, 15% gold gathering. Literally everything. Literally everything. So we'll let the coalition know that they don't have to search around for runes at all. They can just head on over to the Great Zig. Champagne Supernova, welcome to the stream. I'm not sure if that's Addy or somebody else. I saw you commenting on somebody's video where I was like, this must be a leader of our alliance. Zoom out top left corner. Zoom out top left corner. Zoom out top left corner. Oh, is it just this? No. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking to turn off the markers and the chat. I'm looking to block the markers and hide the chat. But yeah, we're just chilling in Kingsland and trying to rebuild. We are trying to rebuild. So let me get the forts started here. I've been jumping on forts with my main, with my farms, all that stuff. Yeah, I want the thing that Plato and a bunch of other streamers have, where it says chat is hidden. In the lower left, it says chat is hidden, and then there's no markers. Yeah, so basically the deal here is you run a lot of friggin' forts, and then you fill them up with your farms, and you get tons of value. You get an absolute ton of value. So we just put Brian Kuh 1 in this person's rally. We just put Brian Kuh 1 in my rally. And we just put Brian Kuh 1 in Addy's rally. Addy, are you Champagne Supernova? Go ahead and, if you can confirm that in the game, I'll, hook you up with mod. Nope. And now I jump on my second farm. Now I jump on Lil Kuh and do the exact same thing. I jump in all of these rallies. And we bring out another another chaining march. Actually, we need to wait for the T5 to come back. Sorry. For some reason on one of my farms, whenever I join a rally, it zooms me into their city. It's really weird and kind of annoying. And we also, the other thing we do in this life is we screw up tons of barb chaining, like a ton of barb chaining. And that guy literally just walked away. Okay, we got that guy. That's cool. Yeah, say it in the game, though. Say it in the game. Thank you, Byte, for saying that I'm the next Chip School Gaming. I do need a crab dance, where you cannot actually see me. I haven't figured that one out yet. But yeah, so now you can see that I have both of my farms in these rallies. And you get about 1.7 million. You get about 1.7 million resources for every barb fort you do. So it's basically like gathering a tile every single time. But instead of taking 2 hours to gather a tile, it takes 5 minutes to do a barb fort. And then you just get all those resources on all your farms. And that's like an incredibly good way to rebuild. Noonie, welcome to the stream. Sniper Tom says you need to go to settings and turn on streamer mode. Okay. Let me check that out. Go to settings and turn on streamer mode. I actually believe that Addy is these people, but I'm not going to give him mod. Just because I don't know for 100% sure. I'm pretty sure he is. I'm pretty sure this is Addy, though. Anyway, nice to have so many key players from 770 on the stream. You know, I think I finished about 12th, like 11th or 12th in contribution. So it's nice to have 3 or 4 people, all who did better contribution than me in the chat. I greatly appreciate it. And I'm not being sarcastic at all. I 100% appreciate people who do tons of contribution in our wars. And I appreciate the gold heads as well. If you are interested in migrating to 770, at this point with one alliance, a combined international and Korean alliance, we do get a few gold heads every day. The Koreans tend to spend a bit more money than us, and we have a few decent English-speaking whales as well, so our gold head giveaways are better than ever. Osiris says, Brian, I just pulled the luckiest unlucky armament. Let's see, did you put it in Discord? Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Okay, interesting. So this is... one second. Alright, there we go. This is what Algebra just got as an armament. Here, I'm trying to chain and stream at the same time, and I'm just not very good at it yet. Do not walk away from me, Barb. Do not walk away from me. Okay, so let's think about this. Why is this unlucky? Boiling Blood is very good. That's a wedge formation. It's a good wedge formation. And the rolls, see, I don't know. Like, to me, this is lucky because I could just use this immediately. But I guess for Algebra, this is not good because it's, I guess, not usable with those stats. But surely Algebra on your, you know, number 3 or number 4 infantry march, you could use that armament, right? Knight says, and we got Whale Sue. Yeah, but is Natsu really a whale anymore? Is he really a whale? I went massive overkill on some of my rally here. A 10-minute rally. Massive overkill. Whose rallies can I join? I can join Jules' rally, because Jules is rallying Inf. So let me fill up Jules' rally here real quick. But yeah, this is what we should honestly do a ton of, is we should just be doing rallies all the time. We should be doing non-stop rallies. And I say that only because that's what Kingdom 1718 did. In the last KvK that we played with 1718, after we won, they were just doing a ton of rallies. Even before we won, even when we were getting ready for the Kingsland fight, they were just doing so many friggin' fort rallies here in Lost Kingdom. And 1718 is definitely a very smart kingdom, so I've just been trying to do the same thing, you know? I've just been trying to start forts, join forts on my farms, and rebuild this friggin' account. Rebuild the account while the getting is good. What's the saying? You gotta get in while the getting is good? Something like that. Get in while the getting is good? Oh, is it get out while the getting is good? Anyway, in this case, we're going to get it while the getting is good. Because we have a week left in KL. Actually, we basically have a week left. Because on the last day, the barbs stopped spawning. So we have a week to go quite hard in the paint. Do as much chaining as we can. Do as many forts as we can. Andrew says it's not an upgrade to my second march either. Okay, it's not an upgrade to your second march, but what about when you're a garrison and you also want to use 2 field infantry marches? At that point, isn't it good enough for your 3rd infantry armament set? Or do you only have 2 sets of infantry gear? Yeah, I've got a Boiling Blood armament. I'll show you guys mine. I mean, I'll show you what I use on my #1 Cav set with Boiling Blood. Oh, wait, am I not even using it? Where's my Boiling Blood? Oh, I think I used it on... Maybe I used it on archers. Oh. I'm not even using this? Really? I'm not using Boiling Blood? Yeah, so I have Boiling Blood, and it's, I'm sort of, unsure what to do with it at this point. Obviously, I would have to use my remaining Transmutation Stone to roll this more, but it's good for cavalry, or it's good for archers, but I'm obviously using something else for archers right now, so maybe I want to turn this into a cav armament. Not quite sure. Let's see what I have instead of Boiling Blood. Oh, you know what? I should change this, actually. I should change this. Because what I had thought was that Spirited was very good. Because when I read this Spirited inscription, it says the wielder's troop deals 5% extra damage when it has over 70% rage. And to me, that's very, very good, right? Because that means you're getting 5% extra damage when you cast your primary commander's active skill, right? That seems great, right? 5% extra damage on Zug's active? That sounds amazing. But what Algebra told me is that this does not apply to any active skill. And so essentially what happens is once your rage bar fills up and you hit 100 rage, here we can show it in the game actually. It makes sense. Basically Spirited is like way worse than people thought. Because it doesn't buff any of the actives, right? So the rage bar drops to 0, but then you see after the rage bar dropped to 0, you had the damage done on these marches. So Spirited is actually like nowhere near as good as I thought it was. Like nowhere close to as good as I thought it was. So quite frankly, once Zug goes back to the city, I will put this Boiling Blood armament on him, and it will be an upgrade. Because Boiling Blood gives a 2% boost to all skill damage, and whenever the wielder's troop deals direct damage to its current target, their troop has a 30% chance to reduce all incoming skill damage by 5% for the next 3 seconds. So Boiling Blood is way, way better than Spirited. The stats are roughly the same, slightly better on this armament, so obviously I have to replace this. Obviously. Ajba says you can see the battle logs that show Spirited not applying for the first active skill. Yeah, it absolutely makes sense. I know that I don't have my animations on right now, but Zug does have Spirited on. And you can just see it. You can see the rage bar. You can see that the rage bar drops to 0. So therefore the commander no longer has over 70% rage. And then after the rage bar drops to 0, that's when you see the big red damage nuke on these barbs. Here, we'll just watch it again. For anyone who doubts this, for anyone out there who is like a Spirited maxi, who still thinks it's a good inscription, just watch. Went to 0, then it did red damage, right? Rage bar full, rage bar goes to 0, then it does the red damage, right? So it's pretty obvious that Spirited is not applying there. Nezu says it works for primary skill though, right? No, it doesn't. It doesn't work for primary skill. Look, watch. The rage bar goes to 0. Like, yeah, that you can see it casts, but there's like a turn and then it does the red damage. So like, yeah, it just doesn't apply. And so that forces me into a number of decisions actually, right? So it's pretty clear what I need to do with Zug, right? I just need to replace that Spirited inscription with my Boiling Blood inscription. And that's a nice little buff. Let me jump in Jules Rally here real quick. Just sort of doing some stuff on my farm when I remember. We're going to get my other barb chaining march out in the field. Look, failed that one. Da-da-da-da-da. Let's try to chain this off the Guardian here, or off the Warden. Let's see if we can chain off the Warden here. Jake Duran, welcome to the stream. Yeah, because I actually have Spirited on two very key marches, and I need to make this change, right? I have it on Zug, and I can replace with Zug immediately. But I have it on my garrison as well. And so I'll show you what the situation is with my garrison. Let me just send my other barb chaining march out here. Let me just send my other barb chaining march out. Yeah, so here's the deal. Here's the deal. This is my garrison armament set, right? I've got some pretty good armaments here. I've got the destructive with the triple roll, the double max triple roll. Pretty good here. I've got forceful here with another 5.7% of stats and the opportunity to roll more. So this is a real nice armament here as well. Down here, Desperado is quite good. Desperado is, for a garrison, Desperado is literally one of the best non-rare inscriptions. Wielder's Troops takes 2% less damage when it has under 50% units remaining. And I have some okay rolls here. Obviously, they can be better, but pretty good. Now, the issue here is this slot here, the Horn slot. Because I've been running Spirited here, thinking that it was very good. But it's not. It's not good at all. It's not good at all. And then Fearsome is just nothing special either. It's 2.5% of stats basically. So this is an incredibly mediocre armament for the Horn slot. Incredibly mediocre. And I don't really have better, to be quite honest. Right? Would I really use a purple? I don't think so. The Nevsky armament is really a open field armament. These inscriptions are good for open field, 5% march speed, but it's not good for garrison at all. So I really don't have anything. I really do not have anything in this slot. I could roll the Devious. I could roll the Devious and try to get something. I could, I just don't have anything, really. I really don't have anything. I could roll the Armored and just I could try to build an armament from scratch to improve this thing. To improve this super mediocre inscription. But my other option is the following. And here's a little pro tip for all of you. You can craft. You can sort of like you can make some moves to ensure that you get a special inscription in the Horn slot. And the question is, how do you do that? Well, okay, so this is interesting. This is really interesting. I've been saving this horn here for a while. I've been saving this horn for a couple of weeks because I didn't know how often you would get it. And basically what you do is you save one of these legendary horns in the dispatch. And then you open a bunch of Arch Formation armament chests and you get to the greed, right? Every 150 legendary armaments you drop of a given formation, you are guaranteed to get a rare or special inscription. So I have 128 of these to go, which is quite a bit. It's quite a bit. But potentially I could just focus on Arch. I could refocus on Arch Formation. open 128 of these. And then when I'm down to, I think 1 left or 0 left, I'll have to figure that out. I can then do this dispatch quest, and I would be guaranteed to get a special inscription for Arch Formation. I will be guaranteed to get either even keeled or straight to the point. Which these both boost normal attack damage and reduce skill damage. Which is good for Garrison, but kind of bad for everything else. Seba says fix your wall. You know, the thing is, Seba, it takes forever, dude. It's such a pain in the butt. I'm just gonna let it. I'm not even gonna fix it. Look how long this takes. Am I crazy or is this like incredibly annoying? Like you have to click this every 30 minutes for the next, I don't know, like 50 plus hours? I have to click this every 30 minutes for the next like 55 hours or whatever? I don't think so. Eddie says Spirit is still good for Garrison, but you need a ton of re-rolling on all but the destructive armament. I mean, I don't know. I'm not like too keen to. This one I will definitely re-roll, but I need to transmute it. I mean, I need to transmute all of these, right? That's the thing. Like, I don't have any. I simply don't have the resources to put all my rolls into these armaments. Like, I don't have the transmutation stones, and there's a bunch of other stuff I have to re-roll as well. And I'm not even sure that, like, it's really hard for me to even go for this horn slot because I'm much closer. I'm much closer on getting greed for wedge. I'm only 52 away before I get pity on the wedge formation. So, I mean, I can't get to both before the next KvK. I can either get to the pity roll on wedge, or I can get closer to the pity roll on arch. And if it were not for the pity rolls, I would absolutely just keep doing wedge, because I need to hook up wedge on a bunch of marches, right? I need to improve my cav wedge set 1. I need to improve my cav wedge set 2. I need to improve my infantry wedge set. And I can also always make improvements to my archer wedge, or yeah, my archer wedge set as well, right? So there's a lot of stuff I can do with wedge, and it's a little bit annoying to think that I'm going to just keep opening arch formation just to improve this like one friggin' set right here. Like, am I really going to devote all of my armament chests to improving this one set right here? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm tempted to say yes, in all honesty. I'm tempted to say yes. But it's annoying. It's very annoying to devote everything to one march. It's annoying to devote everything to being a garrison player. And to drive that home a little bit more, let's talk about my commander choices here as well. Eddie Nabo says I would because you need more stats. Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, look, I can get stats in a number of ways. I can improve my. Listen, I'm going to devote everything, all my materials, to my equipment, right? I'm devoting everything I have to my equipment, to my garrison equipment. I'm devoting all the materials I have to this set. I'm going to upgrade the sword to tier 4, which will give me 4% all damage, which is a great boost. And I will upgrade the Ring of Doom to tier 5. You know. But here's the other. So like, here's the thing, right? Like, basically, what people are saying, and what's probably correct for me to do, is devote all my materials to this set, devote all of my armaments to my cab garrison armaments, and I have to devote all my gold heads to building Eleanor. That's literally what I'm gonna have to do. Like, it's crazy. It's so crazy. You know, the situation is, I probably have to build Eleanor, because if I'm gonna be a cab garrison, it's worth it. You have to upgrade, like, you have to have the meta. It's obviously completely worth it to have the meta cab garrison rather than Jan. So I'm gonna have to devote a ton of gold heads to Eleanor. And then I'm going to have to delay Lucci. I have to delay Lucci. And I have to delay Huo. And I have to delay Huo. Wherever my Huo is. Where's my Huo? Where the heck is my Huo? Here he is. Yeah, so I mean, I've got about 200 gold heads into Huo and Lucci. But essentially, I have to delay both of those to build Eleanor first. Now, here's the question for you all. And let me know if any of you have opinions on this. I've already thought about it quite a bit, so I think I have a pretty good answer. But after Eleanor, who do I build? Do I build Huo? Or do I build Lucci? And essentially, here's the question, right? Here's the question. If I build Huo, then I will have Huo William and XY Justinian, right? That's what I can have if I build Huo, these two marches. If I build Lucci, then I can have Gorgo Lucci and Guan Scipio, right? So the question is, which of these do you do? Knowing that that new infantry commanders are coming out soon, and we don't know if the new infantry commander will be smite or if it will be skill damage, right? So the question is, which of these two do you do? Do you build Huo? Or do you build Lucci? And let me catch up on the chat now. Adinov says you need plus 10 attack defense, then whatever equivalent combo of health damage is before leaving it. But after that, then you get the special inscriptions other ways, so you can focus boxes on field. Well, here's the other thing, Addy. Why are you suggesting that I re-roll non-special inscriptions? Like, why would I devote everything to re-rolling a Desperado inscription when that Desperado inscription is going to get replaced someday by a special inscription anyway, right? And now says, Brian, what you need to do is max Huo and then think about the rest later. That's what I did with Joan. Boy, it was hard, but I maxed Asher Dido the day of war last KvK. Okay, so I actually think I need to build LC before Huo. And here's my reasoning. I already have Justinian William, right? And then I have like XY Mechmed or XY Artifact Commander. But the truth is, I don't really use this march that much anyway. Because I often have one garrison march, and a lot of our fighting is in, you know, early KvK when I only have 5 marches. So to me, I would be upgrading the Justinian William to the Huo Justinian. But then the Justinian would kind of be on the bench a fair bit. Whereas if I build Lucci, then no matter what the new infantry commander is, it works fine for me. If it's a new Smite commander, then I can run Gorgo, new Smite commander, and Scipio LC. If it's a new skill damage commander, then we know for sure it's going to work good with Scipio. There's no way that a new skill damage inf commander won't work well with Scipio. So then we just run new skill with Scipio. And so like I'm good to go either way if I build 2 infantry marches. And then the other thing is like if I build Huo, then I'm basically like committing to like 3 cav marches, right? Then I'm basically committing to like 3 open field cav marches. And that means that I have to build like 4 cavalry sets. But I don't know for sure that I will always want to have 4 cavalry sets. I think it makes way more sense to me to build a second infantry set, right? Because the blueprints work out better. I can get the Eternal Knights more often. I can get the Hope Cloaks more often. I could potentially get the KvK weapon or the KvK helmet down the road. And then I have a second infantry set for like my garrison as well, right? And with the armaments, it makes sense, right? And with the armaments, I can continue to open up some archer armaments, and then on the Lucci Gorgo Smite March, I can use this this arch set, right? So as strong as Huo is, I actually think it makes sense for me to build Lucci first. So that's kind of what I'm planning to do. But I'm planning to build Eleanor first. And hopefully I get 180 gold heads in the Mightiest Governor. Yeah, the Eleanor Mightiest Governor is very soon, right? Oh, this is the leadership one. I didn't realize that. Okay, so Eleanor is in the leadership MG right now. And then down the road, it will also be in the Cav MGE. I will probably only get one of these, but I should be able to get 180 gold heads from this, I'm thinking. Because I think I finished second in contribution among Cav garrisons. So I think I should probably get 180 gold heads for this. So anyway, that's my plan. I really enjoy thinking about that stuff. As you can see, I went through it all, right? I was like, do I build Huo? Do I build LC? Do I build Eleanor? Da 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 da. Like I went through all that logic quite a bit in my head. And I love that part of the game. I friggin' love that part of the game. The planning of your account. Addy says, because it'll be like a year, so it'll be worth a few extra stats when multiplied by the deads we save. See, that's the really hard part, right? That is the extremely hard part about being a garrison commander, garrison captain in your kingdom, is like, it 100% is correct to just focus on that one march. Because you just get so much value, you save so much compared to anything I would do in the open field, right? Like, me having a good open field is actually important because, like, a lot of times I'm, like, the first one in, or I'm, like, trying to get people to do stuff in the open field. Like, I really do put in a lot of work when my open field is strong. But it's, like, but it's not worth it. It doesn't matter. It's better for the kingdom for my open field to literally suck. You know, to literally, I don't have Huo, and I don't have Lucci, and I'm not building either one of them next. It's literally better for me to do that and focus everything on my garrison march. Because you just like save so many deads. You literally save thousands of deads every time you garrison. You potentially save tens of thousands of deads every time you garrison. And you protect objectives more often. You know, you prevent things from getting burned more often, which is an objective victory. But yeah, Nooney said yes, LC, because you pop in arch armaments, so you can use the influence on him. Yeah, that's definitely part of it. The gear is also part of it, though, right? That it makes sense to build. It makes more sense to build a second infantry set than it does to build, you know, cav set number 3 and number 4. There's less overlap of blueprints for one thing, and it's just more useful in the long run, right? I don't want to completely lock myself in to cavalry, you know, like many cavalry marches, right? Let me get another barb fort going here. But how about everybody else? What's everybody else going to build next? What commanders do we have on the horizon for the rest of our crew here? Algebra says, I'm doing the same, Brian. I'll be max inf gear next KvK. Yeah, so Algebra is like definitely our strongest infantry rally in the kingdom. So looks like he's just sort of going all in on that one infantry march, and you know that's also just very worth it. It's also very, very worth it. Yoshi Yang, thank you for the sub. Very much appreciate it. If we play more artifacts KvK, Algebra might max Eleanor as well. Yeah, I mean, I like the artifact KvKs. My account definitely does better in the artifact KvKs. You know, it gives me a chance to use Boudica as an artifact. In this KvK, I ran XY Boudica, which is obviously a huge upgrade over XY Mechmed. And then I can also use things like Attila, garrisons. You just get more options with Attila. I ran like Attila, Charles Martel counter rallies, stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, it's not just the garrison. It's not that my stats are only useful in a garrison. It's also useful in a counter rally situation. So that's also a reason to like heavy focus on just one march. But yeah, it's kind of just, you know, it's kind of like wearing me down a little bit. It's I don't know, they're just like a little bit more, I guess there's like a little bit more thought when you have to build multiple marches. And, you know, it's fun to craft actual gear, right? I barely craft any gear anymore. IJ Sam, welcome to the stream. Yeah, it's good to be back. Good to be back on a Friday night. Chilling in the Lost Kingdom. Hitting some barbs. Doing some forts. And talking to the chat about our next plans. Yeah, I would definitely not be against another artifact KvK. But I wouldn't be against... I would not be against like Siege of Orleans either, right? I'm kind of feeling Siege of Orleans a little bit. Because I like that you can swarm stuff so easily in Siege of Orleans. Like, I know it doesn't play to our strengths, but I like that Siege of Orleans doesn't last as long as some of these other KvKs. You know, I think that sort of stratagems low-key could have lasted an extremely long time. I think this war could have lasted an extremely long time, right? Because, you know, I was watching some of Chisgle's streams this week. I was watching a little bit of Plato's streams as well, but it was really Chisgle's stream where this point was driven home. Is that we really didn't see 2268's defense very much. You know, like, they have pretty nasty defense, and we just didn't really see it, right? They had the ability to swarm down every single rally. They could just swarm down every single rally. Even if we dominated the field and the swarming really, really hurt them, I feel like some of their whales, like Chisgul or PJ Rib or Peacemaker, you know, some of these players who still had a bit left at the end, or Addy Lloyd, right? Addy still had like, I don't know, like, what does Addy Lloyd have right now? Yeah, Addy still has 345 million power, and you know she's got tons of speed ups and tons of resources, right? Just an absolute ton of them, right? So like Addy and Chisgul could have sat their cities right next to a flag and swarmed down our rallies over and over and over and over again. And if we somehow kept them filled, we would get a bad trade on the garrison because for half the time, the rally would be low from getting swarmed, right? So like we never really saw too much of 2268's defense in this KvK. And if they had wanted to, I feel like they could have absolutely ground this thing to an absolute halt. And, you know, we could have like really played for a very, very long time. You know, like when I got up on the second day of this KvK and realized that we were starting to make a comeback, I said to myself, I'm going to run out of speed ups. Like, I'm just going to run out of speed ups. There's no way this war ends before I run out of speed ups, because I just thought everyone was going to get ground down to a nub. I thought it was the kind of war where just everyone gets depleted and the winner is determined by which side gets depleted first, right? And I just think with like artifacts and with instant counter rallies and with surprise strike, I just think a KvK like this can take a really, really long time. A really, really long time. And I'm a little bit more into like KvKs that don't take forever. And I feel like Siege of Orleans is a little bit faster than this game mode. Although arrow towers do speed this one up a little bit. So I guess it's a little bit hard to say. Andres says, I don't know, because they were low on troops. I mean, they were low on troops, but they still had plenty left. They still had enough left to, where this thing could have potentially taken 5 or 6 more days, I think. So, especially if they just swarmed every rally. You know, if they just swarmed, like, all of our rallies. I mean, you like on Chisgul's stream, you could see some of 1900's rallies on flags that he was defending, and a lot of those rallies failed, and a lot of those rallies had really bad trades, even though 1900 controlled the field completely, because they just got swarmed down so quickly. Andrew says, Brian, we are a defensive kingdom. We are a defensive kingdom. And, you know, we definitely have some things to look at as far as our open field goes. We definitely have some things to look at. Yeah, I'm not prepared to say too much right now, because I haven't drawn like full conclusions, but I just know there were some fights where, you know, when you zoomed out in dot mode, you know, all of our marches were in gray, which means that all of our marches were not attacking forward. And then in other open field fights, we'd have like, you know, 4 marches in red, which means that 4 marches were attacking, and we would have 30 marches in gray, which means that 30 marches weren't attacking. So part of me thinks we just need to be way more aggressive. And when you watch like Plato's stream, when they're attacking 1900, you see that they're just all going forward. Their whole meta is that they go forward in the open field in those fights. And part of me thinks that's the correct way to do it. But another part of me thinks that, number one, that's just like not our style, and we just don't have that many players who are willing to go into a fight, never retreat, run their marches down to 0, go to their hospital, empty their, 550,000 troops in the hospital, and then do it again, right? I don't think we have a lot of players who are willing to do that, and I think it's a very big style change for us to do that. I also think it's very dangerous for us to draw open field conclusions from this KvK when we were just like so incredibly outmatched. It was like an unfair matchup against 2268. Like, we shouldn't... I don't think it's correct to draw too many conclusions fighting against them. We've certainly had success in the past where we had these like long drawn out open field fights where there's a lot of like dancing back and forth, and we just sort of like wear them down by being slightly stronger or having slightly better movement or refreshing a little bit faster. We have had some success doing that. Like we had success in the 1818 KvK doing that when we were 1718. We have also lost doing that against 2217, right? We tried to dance against 2217 and they just straight up wrecked us. So I'm not sure what we need to do, but I do know that our open field is honestly like kind of like weak for what we're trying to accomplish in this game. For like the level that we play at and the level we try to compete at, I honestly think our open field needs to get better somehow, and I'm not really sure how we do it. I mean, maybe I need to start writing emails again about like what the meta marches are. Maybe people aren't... I don't know. I feel like everyone just knows what marches to build, so you don't need to like coach that stuff, but maybe we need to do stuff like that. I'm not really sure. And now it says if we fought 166, we would have played very aggressively. But yeah, last KvKs haven't had the chance. Yeah, but I don't really think that 166 is the metric we have to go against either. Like, I feel like we have to build our open field to fight somebody like 1903. Like, I think 1903 is a good barometer. Like, how should we fight to beat 1903 in an open field fight? Should we just heavy charge in and run every march down to 0? Or should we take it a little more carefully and try to pull them in and fight like that? I'm really not sure. Because what 2268 did when they were on the attack, what 2268 did is they just ran their marches in. Like, if you watch like Plotto play, 2268 just ran their marches in and they just zeroed them. All their marches went gray. Like Chiskel in a fight, he would just go in, all his marches would be gray. He would go over to his hospital. His hospital would have like 500 to 550k in there. And then he would heal. And then he would do it all over again. And when you win, you stay out there and you get a really good trade. And when you lose, it hurts. But I mean, if you win in the majority of those cases, then I think you're just like doing it the right way, right? Because yes, your marches are getting, your marches are taking a lot of damage, but you're doing even more damage to the enemy. Popo, welcome to the stream. Banks, I didn't say hello. Banks, glad to have you here. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is Addy, so let me give him a mod. If this isn't not Addy, he has done a very good impression. I will give him a managing moderator. That's fine. Can manage blocked words and change chat modes in live? Sure. Why not? Banks has got to get some bums out of that kingdom. I mean, that is certainly part of it, right? That is certainly part of it. We are a, I would say that we are a semi-casual kingdom in the way that we manage our membership roster, right? I mean, we literally have people who are just fillers. Like, we have main accounts at 70 million power, 70 plus million power, that they just fill. Like, they don't do really anything in the open field, and they just fill, garrisons and rallies. And then we have a lot of people who, do just a tiny bit in the open field and do the rest with their farms and stuff like that. Yeah, Popo, I did see that 1875 was in Kingsland, but it looked pretty boring. It looks like it's pretty much over. Quizzy, welcome to the stream. Oh, YOLO. YOLO, good to have you here. Great performance. Great performance in this KvK, YOLO. I don't have the contribution stats handy at the moment, but I know YOLO was a really, really high contributor in 2836. So yeah, shout out to you, YOLO. I really enjoyed playing with you. I know that you and I both get emotional at times on voice chat, but at the end of the day, for me, I like getting information from a lot of people. I like getting information from opinions from a lot of people. That helps me figure out what I think the correct move is. And as much as I'm like a little bit sensitive in the moment, and criticism does affect me in the moment and sort of like affects my confidence, in the long run, I don't mind it at all. Like I'm pretty robotic, I guess, and so I don't really mind heated stuff in voice chat, because at the end of the day, more information and more opinions are good. We filter all of them and we come to a better decision. I know that like me and Addy were kind of arguing on night 1 of Kingsland when we were getting pushed all the way back to this pass by 2268. I said that we should do an easy KvK next, and that people want to get a win. They're sick of all these super hard matchups where we lose, and they want to just get a win and feel like we're badasses for a while. I think Addy took a bit of issue with that. I think he was right to take a bit of issue with that. I don't think that was the right time for me to bring that up. I think in a way I was second guessing Addy. I was saying like, oh, the KvKs that you have put us in have not been correct because they've all been so hard. And like I should not have second guessed Addy on night 1 of Kingsland. Like that's just 100% the wrong time to second guess somebody. Like it was just not, it was just not the right time or the right place for that. But at the end of the day, like, we can have these conversations, these difficult conversations, and through that dissonance, we can come to a better answer. I think ultimately the way you make progress in a game like Rise of Kingdoms, or the way you make progress in society in general, is by having good conversations. Yola says, yeah, I'm the same way. We came out with the win, so that's good. Yeah, I mean, when you win, everything is solved, right? Everything is solved when you win. Yogi says, Lucci best combo with what for free to play? So Yogi, what I would say is that you could certainly, if you want to do well in the first couple KvKs, I guess you could build Alex, and then you could run Alex in like KvK 1 and 2, and then you could upgrade to Lucci, and then you have a good, Lucci Alex march. That is certainly one way to do it. Lucci Scipio is definitely a lot better than Lucci Alex. So building Alex is a little bit of a suboptimal play in the long run, because you're not going to really want him in Season of Conquest. But Lucci Alex certainly works, and you could make that your very first march in the game. But Scipio Lucci is the better combo for sure. And I think Scipio Lucci is still the best infantry march in the game. Although Popo is saying that Lucci Alex is a beast, so if we not have with Ethelfled, good bro. Alex Ethel, I'm not sure. He might be all right. Stefan says Lucci or Herman Prime to max first. I would definitely max Lucci first. I mean, is Herman even better than Zug? It feels to me like Zug is better than Herman. But maybe I'm not like totally clued in on like the tier lists and stuff. But I feel like Zug is better than Herman. For one thing, you can chain with Zug, which is nice. Like, it's actually legit to have one chaining march. YOLO says to build LC first. Pubbo says ZL is better. I mean, I could see an argument for building LC or building ZL before Lu-Chi because of chaining. I could absolutely see that argument. Because what the hell do you chain with? If you're building Lu-Chi first these days, what the hell are you chaining with? Seven says I have Zug maxed. Oh, if you have Zug maxed, then I would probably build Herman first, unless you have Alex. If you have Alex, I would, or Scipio, then I would build LC first. But yeah, Stefan, I would focus on building that one really good march, right? I would focus on the one really good march. That's like super helpful, right? Stefan says right now I have ZL with YSG maxed. Then I would go Lu-Chi then, Steven. Yeah, I would work on your first infantry march. You know, build Lu-Chi, run him with whoever first, then get Scipio, or you know, then probably get, you know, whatever the best pair for Lu-Chi is at that point. Yeah, Lu-Chi is definitely awesome. Yolo says I have 5 March Barbs. Okay, I can't chain. It takes too long. I chain. I don't always chain, but this KvK I'm chaining. Definitely a good thing to do on stream. This is one of the best things about streaming is you can just like do the bullshit that you would do anyway, but it's just like when you stream it, then you can kind of act like you're multitasking, you know? Make a few bucks in ad money, reward your members by giving them content. Maybe add a few new subs, and you know, just give everybody something to do on a Friday night. Because I mean, like yesterday, you saw people just like jumping on their streams to do Golden Kingdom, right? Like Chiskel and 12-inch both did like hour-long streams where they were just like, "Got to do Golden Kingdom, might as well stream it." Popo says, oh, so Stefan has Guan, Scipio, Alex all maxed. Oh, so yeah, you're all set, Steven. Yeah, you're all set, dude. Just build LC next. Then you run 2 infantry marches, and you run ZLYSG. That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect, dude. You're in good shape. That's great that all the commanders you built are still useful, right? Because Guan is still very good. I was very happy with my Guan Scipio March this KvK. Very happy with it. And that's the other thing, right? Like, my Justinian William did pretty good too. Like, that's the thing. The thing is, my Justinian William did, like, good enough. Like, it really didn't trade too badly. So yeah, it would be nice to have Huo for sure, but I just feel like the Justin is alright. Algebra says chain now, get ready for next Hell KvK. I'm hoping we do something in the middle. I'm hoping we do something in the middle of a Hell KvK and an easy KvK. I mean, something like the last, something like the KvK against 1818 would be perfect. Like a 8 or 9 day KvK where like we were pretty sure we were gonna win the whole time, but it was like still a good fight. That would be perfect, but you know, you got to get real lucky with that one. I don't know, like maybe there's a world where we like talk to 1718 or 1900. I mean, I'm fine with 1900, you know? Like we just like talk with them and we're like, "Hey, you want to queue together, right? You want to queue in the same KvK together." And then maybe we either get in the same camp or we ally with them. And then we have just like a smooth win, a smooth win against other A kingdoms. Yogi says, for first I went Lu-Chi with Ethelfled. That good, bro. What you think? Let's think about that one, Yogi. Let's theory craft this one for you. Because I have not looked at Ethel's skills in a while. I mean, I'm like basically familiar with her skills. I believe she does give some counterattack, if I'm not mistaken. I believe Ethel gives some counterattack. You know, the main thing here, the reason that I think she's probably pretty good with LC is that she doesn't do a lot of skill damage. You know, she just does this 800 damage factor nuke, AoE nuke. But a big part of her active is the debuff, the massive debuff here. Takes 20% less counterattack damage, so that's good for tanking. And then it's a slow. And then the fourth skill is a rally skill. Oh, it contains at least three different troop types. It gains 20% attack. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure you want Lucci to be all infantry, right? This commander deals 20% more damage to enemy troops that have been slowed. So let's see how that synergizes with Lucci. Let's see how Ethel synergizes with Lucci. So Lucci does have the slow. The slow is nice. The slow synergizes with her alt, which is cool. Lucci does have 20% infantry march speed. And he has a skill that is, if the troop contains only infantry units, it gets all this stuff, march speed and a skill damage reduction. So with Lucci Ethel, you are going to just want to run one troop type. So there's a bit of anti-synergy there. 20% attack, extra smite damage, extra normal attack damage, a debuff, and then this is the extra attack. Look, I don't think they're a perfect combo, Yogi, but I think they're fine. I think LC Ethel for your first march is fine. I think basically that's a pretty good plan. I honestly think that's a pretty good plan, dude. I think that's a pretty good plan. Popo says 2425 is FCK. They better than 1900, I think, or 1500. I mean, we fought against 2425, but I don't know that we really know them that well, and I don't know that we know 1500 at all. But yeah, those make sense as well, right? A kingdom Korean A kingdoms that we could ally with, and they could you know, they could boost us. They could boost our chances. I will be honest, after I watched more video of 1900 defending against 2268, I feel a little bit less bad about us not getting the star. I kind of feel like it's pretty close between our two camps. Because Carr says we all got no match found. Are you serious? Yeah, so Carr's in 1960. They all got no match found. There's no way. Is that true? Oh my gosh. So there was like the massive, you know, all the big kingdoms queued together for Alliance Invictus. 1093, 1960, 188, 2489, 1846, and 1818. They all queued together. People were already like previewing like who would be the allies, who would be this, who would be that. Did they really all get no match found? I'm not seeing anything on Facebook, which is interesting. Oh my gosh, that is wild. They canceled the whole Invictus KvK. I'm just really surprised. I'm just very surprised that Lilith is doing that. I'm very surprised. I don't really understand that at all. I mean, like, I feel like those kingdoms have to fight each other. They can't fight anybody else. So if they all queue together, why don't you make that match happen? That is wild. That's really yeah, that's really too bad. You know, that's bad for all those kingdoms, but like it's honestly bad for us as well because the the inevitable result of 1093 and 960 getting repeated no match founds is that they're both going to get smaller, and like everyone's just going to try to become an A kingdom. Like no one is going to want to be Imperium, no one is going to want to be multi-alliance, and so everyone's just going to become an one alliance A kingdom. And then our sort of like the sweet spot that we've been in for a couple years is going to get ruined by these whale kingdoms, you know? Because what has happened is that when you're an A kingdom over the last couple years, is that, you know, you don't really fight whale kingdoms too much. You fight like other kingdoms that are sort of your spending level. Here, I'm gonna actually use my emoji here. I'm gonna use the sad face emoji on that no match found. Missed that chain there. Algebra says if we fight 1960, I will quit. I mean, it's just AI. It's just rough, you know. It's just rough. And now it says we got domains. Our power gonna have. Yeah, but isn't domains like 900 cities? Like, can't every kingdom have 900 cities in a domain? Like, I don't feel like we have 900. So therefore, what are we cutting? Yeah, you just hope that, see, when 1093 and 960 get no match found again when they keep queuing together, I feel like I worry that Lilith doesn't understand what a massive gap there is between 960 and a kingdom like ours, right? Like, we might have the same power, especially if they get rid of some players. We might have the same power. In the domain system, we might look somewhat similar. But we're like two totally different kingdoms. We are totally different kingdoms. Like, they have way better gear and way better armaments and way better commanders. But in the exact same breath, they also spend way more on crystal tech. Way more on crystal tech. So it just becomes we're on two totally different levels. And it just becomes not fun for us at all, right? Because we did have a mini version of that sort of mismatch when we fought against 2217 and 1393, where our camp had similar power. We thought we were going to beat them. I actually thought we would win that zone for a while before it started, because we had similar power, similar kill points. But they had about 2 to 3 times more players spend on crystal tech in that KvK than we did. You know, 2 to 3x more players with max crystal tech for them, and that made like a huge difference in the open field. Like, they really wrecked us in the open field because of that crystal tech. And I just worry that maybe Lilith does not understand that, and they're just gonna match us up. They're gonna match us together. You know, they're gonna put us in a KvK with 188, and they're gonna be like, oh well, you know, 770 has, you know, half the kill points and all the power of 188. Therefore, that matchup is not that bad, you know. And it's like, no, that matchup is real bad. But we'll see how it goes. That's yeah, that's some pretty crazy news, Car, for sure. And definitely sorry to. I mean, that's just bad for everybody. I was looking forward to streaming that KvK, you know. With all the new spectator changes and stuff, I was literally thinking to myself, late at night when nobody else is streaming, I'll jump on a stream and I will spectate that KvK. I was all set to do that. Yeah, I just think I just think there's no good explanation for that at all. There absolutely should have been a match found, 100%. Absolutely no way to justify not giving you all a matchup. Seems like a big mistake. Looks like one of these fort rallies is dying. I hope it's not mine. Matba. Oh, somebody fill Matba. This thing is going down, baby. This thing is going down. After this, we will do the best of Matba. We're going to do the best of Matba after this. Adinaba says the biggest problem is pool size and Imperium squeeze. Carr says, I wouldn't be disappointed if we get Strife of the 8 as an option in a month or so. Yeah, that would be a bigger map, and you could get a few more kingdoms in there, but... I mean, I'm sure you're going to have a ton of players who are pissed about having to wait another month, though. Then again, matchmaking must fail next pop if that were ever to materialize. Alright, so, we just saw Matba fail a rally, and that gives me a chance to do... we're going to do the best of Matba, right? So, LKC, obviously, as many of you know, LKC is going to be coming to an end soon. They're going to get rid of LKC and have Threads instead. Which I actually think Threads might be okay. But I am going to miss the just absolutely chaotic nature of LKC. And the other day, after the war was over, Matba did go on a bit of a heater in LKC. And he was actually arguing quite a bit with Tempbite from 2268. And so I just thought I would show you a bit of that. And we're going to call this the best of Matba. So basically, a couple things to say here. Basically, Tempbite was like looking at everyone's KP. He was just like looking at everyone's KP and making fun of people who didn't have a lot of KP. And so, yeah, so this is one of them, right? Tempbite was making fun of Matba for having 12.8 million tier 4 deads. So Matba goes, yeah, I killed your farms. It's called good strat. Try it sometime. And, you know, I mean, I think that's just like great, right? It's like somebody looks at just stats. They're like obsessed with stats. All they see is stats. Stats are what matter to them. And how did Matba get all those kills? He literally was like cheeseburgering with like a Henry Charles and like wrecking the reigns that were coming to SV68's rallies, right? And the conversation just kind of went on and on. And Matba was like making fun. He was making fun of them, right? He was kind of making fun of 2268 and this KP obsession, this kill point obsession of a lot of their players who are in LKC a lot, right? Like Tempbite's real obsessed with KP. Like Gino seems very obsessed with KP. So Matba goes, love it when the losers put so much stock in player killing and have no strat besides fielding for no reason. Look at me, I'm big and strong with 7 marches, lol. Which is like, you know, like this is I think, I don't know, this like just kind of hits it on the head with, I think, part of what 2268 was about in this KvK, which is that they had like a lot of people who were, you know, really proud of all their kill points, right? They were really proud of their kill points. They looked at other people's kill points. They pulled up their own stats all the time. They pulled up our stats all the time. They made fun of us if we didn't have enough kill points. And it's just like, bro, like, if all you do is build open field marches, and then you migrate to one of the strongest open field kingdoms in the game, where you can stand behind giant whales and let them tank for you, and you spend your entire day like focusing on, okay, like where can I go in the open field? Like, you know, where can I, where's the fight right now? Are there some farms walking by where I can get some easy kills? Can I hit some gatherers? Can I, you know, go fight Daybreak for a while? You know, all you're doing all day is figuring out how to get as many kill points in this KvK. And you're playing against people like Mappa, who's like hitting farm killers, or you're playing against somebody like me who's setting markers, or you're playing against somebody like Addy, who literally doesn't even play the game half the time, right? He doesn't even fight in the open field. Like sometimes Addy Navo's marches are all in his city, and he's literally just like looking around the map, like trying to figure out like the absolute best place to build the next flag, right? It's like, yeah, of course you're going to get a lot of kill points against those people. Like, of course you're going to get a lot of kill points against those people. But that doesn't like make you, it doesn't make you like some friggin' badass at the game. It just means that you like focused on one thing and went to a kingdom that's going to enable you to like, to maximize your kill points. And yeah, at that point, yeah, okay, I guess you have a lot of kill points, but it's like, bro, there's so much more to the game than that. There's so much more to the game than kill points. And I think there were some of the people in 2068, these LKC warriors, who like literally don't realize that. Like they literally do not realize that there's more to the game than getting kill points. And then so here was another one. Here was another one, right? Which is like their own surrender Discord announcement said they failed to stack allies and will do it better next time. Which is true. Black Panther did say that Black Panther did say that the fix for the next KvK is to stack allies in their favor better next time. So this was like a pretty good insult by Matba. And like this is something that these LKC warriors did a lot, which was like they were just like obtuse, right? Byte's like literally you got to be on the spectrum if you didn't understand the joke. It's like, bro, that's the joke. Like that Mappa's making a friggin' joke, dude. Like just in the exact same way that Black Panther is not completely serious when he says he'll stack allies next time, Mappa is also not completely serious when he makes fun of BP for it, right? So I don't know. This was just like kind of this thing that some of the people in 2268 would do, which is like they would like criticize you and then do the exact same thing themselves, right? It's like, you know, Matba has to be deadly serious, and then like, but at the same time, Byte has to be like, everything's a joke. Why would you ever be serious? Like, it's just, I don't know, whatever. HTT, welcome to the stream. He says, yo, are we looking at 2268 trash talk right now? I just saw like Mappa or fail a rally, and I just had those screenshots, so I wanted to show it. It seems like the conversation is still going on about Imperiums. Let me kind of catch up a little bit. Nugget, welcome to the stream. He says, I never even noticed who won this KvK. Popo says, yeah, Byte was making fun of one of my accounts while I used to play two of mine in Pilot 2. Yeah, I mean, Popo put in some serious friggin' work this KvK, right? I wouldn't look at King Popo's stats on his King Popo account and be like, oh, that's my assessment of your play this KvK. Popo was a for sure top 10 player in our camp and arguably a top 5 player. But on the topic of Imperiums, Addy Navo says they addressed it and said they wouldn't change Imp. They need to just hard get rid of it and cap LK to 800 per kingdom. Pretty simple fix. I mean, the one thing I like about Imperium is that it does kind of keep the gap between kingdoms a little bit lower, right? Like if there was no Imperium in 960, then they could just like bring in all the talent they wanted. Maybe they can anyway, I don't know. Carr says the Imperium threshold is simply too low. They have failed royally with domains. As of right now, it hasn't resolved anything. Yeah, I don't know what they're supposed to do at this point. I don't really feel like it's I don't feel like it was a... I don't really feel like it's necessarily even a systematic issue by Lilith, right? Like, I don't think the Imperium system is necessarily bad. Apparently on the Chinese server, there are still a lot of like very big kingdoms. There are like 4 and 5 alliance kingdoms on the Chinese server. I think that what happened is simply that as a community, we built a lot of Imperium kingdoms that were not built to last, right? A lot of these Imperium kingdoms didn't necessarily have great leadership. They were very, very good at recruiting, but they did not necessarily have great leadership. They recruited a lot of players who came in wanting to get gold chests or wanting to get kill points. And I just think we over and over again, we saw these big Imperiums fall apart. We saw it over and over and over and over again. Like, think about like the hot Imperiums at a time. Like whether it was like 1534 in the Korean Kingdom or like 1860 in the International Kingdom. I mean, these were like giant Imperiums that fell apart super fast, like super, super quickly, right? Like, never really even had a hard KvK. You know, or like never really even had any KvK success. Like literally just like built up, underperformed, and then just like fell apart, right? And we just had it over and over again. And we also had Imperiums that had like some potential and like had some success where like there was not a lot of resiliency there, right? Like 307 was strong, but never really fought a hard KvK. Then they had a couple of nice wins, but I think players like Phantom stopped playing as much. Then they lost to 1093, like they got really dominated by 1093. And they just sort of like fell apart like really quickly, right? There was no like rebound. I mean, 1846 rebounded, but very, very, I don't know, like very few Imperiums have just sort of like bounced back. Like 1254 like insta fell apart. 1254 insta fell apart. They were at basically the height of their power with like SW coming in and whatever else. I don't know. Some of their leaders probably stopped playing and stuff, but they were very close to being at the height of their powers. They lost one KvK, one big KvK, and it just like sort of all fell apart very quickly. Nugget says they'd win KvK if they ditched SW. Yeah, I don't think I agree with Addy here that SW was honestly a lot of the better players in 2268, right? I think they were some of the better players in 2268. My assessment of 2268 is they honestly played pretty well. Like, to me, 2268 is a Imperium Kingdom that could and should show some resiliency in this spot. Like, I actually think 2268 should show some resiliency. If they could find a way to recruit like a Vietnamese, like a small Vietnamese group or a small Korean group somehow to handle some of their downtime, that would be like really, really good. I mean, maybe they have to look at I don't know if their leaders, you know, I'm not sure if their leaders underperformed here or what. I'm not quite sure. I mean, they might need to make some changes, but like, I think 2268 played pretty good overall. And if they were to play like a team of their caliber, where like sometimes they have to play defense, I think they would have done very well defensively. I think they do very well in the open field. But I think the problem with a kingdom like 2268 is the problem that our community has in general, and it's a problem that is not about Lilith, and it's not about the system that Lilith built. It's about the nature of the community that we have. And so, like, let's think about 2268's situation here, right? Let's think about their situation. They lost this KvK, and a lot of their players, like, immediately came out and said, we're staying, and we think we played pretty good, and we think we have a good future, right? Like, Bus Driver said that. I think, you know, Plato, either Plato or Panther was saying that the core of the kingdom was very good. You know, Chiskel said that SW is not leaving. I think partly because they want to stay, and probably partly because they just don't have the passports to migrate now. So you had a bunch of, like, key players say 2268 is going to stay together. However, you also had their biggest whale, Addie Lloyd, is very likely going to migrate out. to 960. Nugget says, Pope, I alluded to 2268's leadership, and Nugget says, well, what do you expect from a kingdom led by a chick who wants to be me? So old man Nugget taking shots at new school female Nugget. Hey, you know, the war of names is real, so, you know, I'd say all's fair in name wars. But listen, speaking about 2268 situation, right? Their core says they're going to stick together, but their biggest whale, Addie Lloyd, is going to migrate out. And their number 2 whale, Fluffy Pony, also may have some real issues playing this game going forward as well, right? You know, Fluffy may not be back for the next KvK either. And like in these Imperium kingdoms, it's like not just the core. It's not just the core, because these Imperium kingdoms live and breathe by like new hot migrants coming in. Like they constantly are getting these like new high kill point migrants that essentially have like no loyalty to the kingdom. Like they have very, very little loyalty to their kingdom. They were not part of, you know, the group that built the kingdom. And they're like hired guns in a way. Like they might like the experience there, but it's very different to like the experience versus be like fully committed to a kingdom, right? Like I'm friggin' fully committed to my group, right? I everything I do in this game is basically just to make my group better. Like if I cared about my account more than my group, I would have structured everything differently and I would play completely differently, right? So to me, it's like all these kingdoms like 2268 just have like extremely it's just extremely weird for them to like continue to thrive because they're so recruiting based that they're always at risk of a bunch of people leaving. Like even if things are good, even if they played good in this KvK, even if their core is going to stay in place, even if their leadership is good, if they lose, a bunch of people might lose anyway. They might lose anyway, right? I mean, let me I'm just scrolling here to hopefully find something, right? To continue to make my point, right? I want to continue to make my point here. I want to continue to make my point. So this guy's socks are great, right? Socks are great. He's a YouTuber. He made a video yesterday called I Migrated, What's Next for Me? And so Socks Are Great was in 2268, and he literally migrated out before the KvK ended to go to 1818 and fight in this next big KvK. And like in Socks Are Great's video, he talked about how, you know, he was considering all the kingdoms. Like, he was considering all 6 kingdoms that registered for this Alliance Invictus. He was like, well, I could have joined 1093, but I would have been in, like, the 3rd Alliance, so I didn't want to be in the 3rd Alliance. He was like, I couldn't join 1188 because they require people to spend. I couldn't join 1960 because they require people to spend. I forget what he said about 1846, but he didn't go to 1846. And 2489, again, like, they require people to spend, so he couldn't go there, right? So this dude literally did not care. Like, he did not care what kingdom he went to, right? He was just like, I'm just going to a kingdom that will take me, and I can be in their main alliance, and I can fight in another big KvK, and I can make content, yada, 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 right? So it's like a purely transactional move by Socks Are Great. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's a win-win for Socks, and it's a win for 1818. 1818 gets a player who's going to contribute a lot of kill points to their kingdom. This is a good addition for 1818. It's also good for Socks Are Great, because he gets to play in another KvK, he gets to make a lot of content, and I think basically he really just cares about kill points, and so he's going to get a bunch of kill points. Right? So it's a win-win for Socks Are Great. But I'm going to tell you right now, This dude thinks about this game completely differently than I think about this game, right? He has no loyalty to a kingdom at all. He says he likes the people in 2268, but he literally left the kingdom at a time when they need people to stick around because they don't want to have they don't want to fall apart. This dude insta left the kingdom, right? And like I said, it's a win for him and it's a win for 1818. But like for me, I mean, I've been a part of a group for 6 years. I've been a part of this group for 6 freaking years, right? And so you know, I just think about the game totally differently than he does, right? For him, it's all about his account. And for me, it's all about this group of people that I've been playing with for 6 freaking years. And like, I'm not saying my approach is better. I'm not saying my approach is like more ethical or more admirable or anything like that. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is when you have people like me in a kingdom, we have like actual resiliency, right? We lose KvK, but people don't leave, right? And when we're in a war, we don't care about our own kill points. We care about like winning the war, right? So, you know, we sacrifice our sleep at times. We sacrifice our personal life or our work life at times. We, you know, we build garrison captains instead of actually making our open field something other than shit. And like, I'm not the only person who does this at all. I'm not the only person who does this in any way whatsoever, right? Like, we had a whole group like a year ago come in from 1252, right? Like, let's say it's like Noller. Noller was in that group. Very handsome guy here, Noller. You know, very, very handsome man here. You know, Noller was in that group. Jon Snow was in that group. Shoto was in that group. A number of players. I'm looking for one other guy. So, 3 people I want to point out. Noller, Jon Snow, and that guy, wherever that guy is. I don't see him here. But anyway, Jon Snow, that guy, and Noller are literally 3 of our biggest like farm fillers in the kingdom. All 3 of them have several farms that they fill up garrisons with throughout the KvK, right? So they're like extremely team-oriented players. And, you know, you've never heard of these players. You never heard of Kingdom 1252. But I'm going to tell you right now, when 1252 migrated here, I said it on my stream then. So here's like one of Jon Snow's farm, Little Jon Snow, right? Their farms are all over the place. They're joining rallies, all that stuff. When this group migrated to our kingdom, I immediately said it was going to be a very big deal for us. Because number one, they get along. They've been together for a long time. And number 2, they 100% have the same mindset as us, which is like play defense, fill garrisons, use farms a lot, focus on the team. Individual glory does not matter. Focus on the team. And literally no one has ever heard of Kingdom 1252. You know, everybody's heard of Socks Are Great. Everybody sees the kill points of the 2268 warriors in LKC. They see all those amazing kill points from all these players, right? Nobody's ever heard of Jon Snow. Nobody's ever heard of Noller. Nobody's ever heard of, you know, that guy. People have heard of Natsu. I don't know why. Somehow people have heard of Natsu. But they are super valuable to a kingdom like ours because if we lose, they're still around. And they do all the things that are necessary to win, right? And so I just think there are different ways to play this game. And I just think when you look at the Imperiums that have been in the game since the beginning of time, it's just kind of crazy how many of them have fallen apart so freaking quickly. I mean, you know, it's just weird, man. It's just weird. I'm not saying the way Sox is great plays is worse than the way I play or anything like that. But I'm just saying it's hard for kingdoms to sustain when you bring in a bunch of players like that, and then they leave Not even because they don't like it. They just leave because like they want to go play another KvK real fast. Like how the hell do you maintain a kingdom that way? You know? It's tough. It's tough, man. So it's not really even, it's not Lilith. It's not necessarily even the leadership of the of these kingdoms. It's just the culture of the player base. The culture of the player base is to be very interested in themselves, right? They're not interested in the team. They're interested in themselves. And if you have that if you have that culturally, then you're going to have very few big kingdoms that stand the test of time. And I think it's extremely interesting that the China server does not have that problem, you know? Because even when the Chinese groups were on our server way back in the day, the thing you sort of noticed about them and that people said about them is that they're a very team-oriented group. You know, if the leader said to do something, they would all freaking do it. And they take that team-oriented mentality to their own server, and they don't have the Imperium problems that we do. People are talking about Socks in the chat. Yeah, he is free to play, but he has a ton of stuff, man. He has like 2,000 days of speed ups, and he's got like you know 6 or 7 billion of each resource. So he didn't go through his bags in this KvK, and he must not have gone through a lot of his speed ups. Algebra says this KvK was recovery for Socks. Big arc match for HDS, really? That must be a troll, right? I knew it was a troll. I knew it was a troll. Good, good, good. We got an easy one. Yeah. Whenever we are in KvK and lose all our troops, we seem to get a very easy KvK after that. But yeah, I mean, it's like again, I'm not trying to badmouth one person. I just think Socks is like a great example because like. He obviously is like a very effective player, right? He's free to play. He has like massive KP. Like literally there hasn't been like a free to play. I don't think there's been a free to play in the history of the game who has gotten KP as fast as Socks are great. And like even after this long war where he probably got like more KP than me, like almost for sure. He still has like 2,000 days of speed ups, right? But it's like this was a recovery KvK for him. This was like, okay, that's a recovery K for him, but you want to know something? This was probably the most important KvK that 2268 has had maybe ever. Like, I don't want to speak for them, and that's just my opinion, but like, after about 3 losses in a row, when like they have a very winnable KvK, and when like all the pressure is on 2268 to win this KvK, this was arguably the most important KvK they've ever had. And you've got a player who's treating this like a recovery KvK. I mean, at the end of the day, like that's just not conducive to kingdom success, right? It's just not conducive to it. This is the KvK where you go all out. If you care about your kingdom, you go all friggin' out. Listen, I wasn't even gonna play. I was retired. I was basically retired as a leader. I was gonna be like a casual player in this game. I've got a brand new business to run. And I was kind of enjoying not playing this game quite so much. But we landed in a KvK where we were going to have more attention on us than we have ever had before. It was against a streamer kingdom. It was against, you know, a very high profile kingdom. We were going to get a lot of attention for how we did in this KvK. So it was important for our future. And once we sort of looked at the matchup, it became winnable. It was also a winnable KvK once we looked at the matchup. So I basically, you know, sacrificed a little bit of my business, and I spent more than I expected, more than I planned to. I didn't get a lot of sleep, and I put in more effort. I put in way more effort for this KvK than I planned to, because I saw that it was a very important KvK for our kingdom, right? You know, we've played this game for a very long time. We've had success. Nobody really knows who we are, and this was our chance to show the larger community how we play and how good we are, right? Not that we're great, but we're very good, right? And somebody like Adinavo is, in my opinion, one of the best English-speaking leaders in the history of the game, right? And so this was a chance for Addy to show who he is. And, you know, it was like actually important to me for our kingdom to like just show ourselves very well, right? Like it actually mattered to me, and that showed in like my spending and how much time I committed to it, right? So that's what you do if you care about a kingdom. That's what you do. You don't make it a rest KvK, you do that. And, you know, we've had players in our kingdom before who are very transactional, right? Very, very transactional. We had this Brazilian dude who would be like, I messed up this chain. I went way overboard on this chain right here. Like a year and a half ago, we had this Brazilian dude who would finish in like the top like 7 in contribution, right? But he would never fight in the hard fights. He would never participate in the hard fights. He would just do all the easy fights and just rack up, he would rack up contribution points that way. And so for 1 or 2 KvKs, we would give this dude resources when he wanted resources, because he was like a big time contributor. We didn't have that many good open field fighters, and he was like a good open field fighter. So we gave this dude a lot of resources for a while. But then we got into this like really intense KvK. It was a 2 versus 6 KvK, where at times we were like heavily outnumbered and we really needed this dude. And you would just never see him in the hard fights. And he would go through me for resources. Like I think maybe Adinavo and the actual bank people were like kind of ignoring him or whatever. So he would go through me to get resources after a while. And one day I just said to the dude, I said, listen, you never fight in the hard fights, and I'm really not comfortable giving you resources because all you do is fight in the easy fights. He got kind of upset with me. Like a day or two later, he actually did participate in a tough fight. I thanked him for it. I was like, thank you for helping out today. Your participation was very important, right? And then after the KvK was over, he migrated out. He migrated out after that KvK. He went to did I just like fail a chain twice? I probably did, but yeah, he migrated out, right? He migrated to Kingdom 2000, if you remember Kingdom 2000, right? And I don't know, maybe they gave him resources there, maybe they didn't. But the point is, the guy played for himself and he didn't play for his team. And after not too long, we stopped giving the guy resources, and he migrated to a kingdom that fell apart like 6 months later in their very first hard KvK, right? So, I mean, like, we have players like that. We do have players like that. And, you know, at the end of the day, they just, like, don't really work out here. Like, they just don't really work out. We've had some, like, kind of big-name players come in, and then they realized that, like, we don't really drop that many gold chests, or back then we didn't drop many gold chests, and they would just, like, check out immediately. Like, there was a group that came here, and they were in the English-speaking alliance rather than the Korean alliance, and back then we dropped very, very few gold chests. And basically, like, the moment that group of 4 realized that they were not getting a lot of gold chests, 2 of them literally, like, stopped participating, like, right away. Like, in the very first KvK, they, like, didn't try at all. They were just, like, immediately wanted to migrate out. And then the other 2 did try hard and played good and were, like, good contributors for a while. Eventually, they migrated out because they wanted, like, a lower level of competition. But I mean, yeah, we've seen players like that. We definitely have experienced players like that. And like for us, we just make like a very quick assessment that like they're just not worth it. Like they just don't bring enough value to the team. But let me catch up on here. Adinawa says 2268 have a ton of good players and a ton of people who I wouldn't want to associate with. Let's see. DRD says Asian community is very competitive. Mr. Hope, go to Asian Alliance. Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, you're seeing other cultures build strong kingdoms, right? You're seeing, like, listen, there are some Vietnamese kingdoms in this game that are getting stronger and stronger, right? 2377 is getting stronger and stronger. You know, we fought against 1818 a year ago, and 1818 had very good leadership. Like, the thing that I noted about 1818 was that, like, Cigar King and Min Fook were like very good leaders, right? And you're seeing 1818 get bigger and bigger. I looked at their kill points recently. I think 1818 has like 1.2 or 1.3 trillion KP, which is a big increase from when we fought them. So, you know, you're seeing some, like, you know, you're seeing some Vietnamese kingdoms grow. You know, Korean king. You're seeing the Korean kingdom is complicated because I think the game became less popular in Korea. But you're seeing some other cultures that seem to have like a pretty strong team-oriented thing going on. But then you're just seeing a lot of like these English-speaking kingdoms that, like, I don't know, they just fall apart. They just, one English-speaking Imperium after another just keeps falling apart. DRD says 1900 is good. We want every KvK with them. They always win and give hard fight. DRD, what kingdom are you in? I've been trying to figure this out. I see you talking about this KvK in a lot of chats. I don't I haven't been able to figure out what kingdom you're in, DRD. Yeah, Sox did go to 1818. Eddie Nava says, remember when I booted that guy who got 1 billion KP because he refused to defend an important flag with 100 million power? Yeah, that's a great example. Addy gave a better example than I remembered, right? We had a couple of whales, dude. We had this one whale. I honestly don't quite remember his name. I remember who he was. I remember his personality. And he was a good player. He would hang out on voice. He would play Ark with us. He was a cool dude, honestly. He was honestly a cool dude. He got a lot of KP, good power. And I really liked him. But he like refused to garrison a flag near the end of KvK. And Addy just straight up booted the dude from the kingdom. And his friend went with him. It was like two whales who were friends who migrated here together. And like they were good, man. They were honestly good, and I actually criticized Addy at the time for booting them because I just felt like we needed their open field. You know what I mean? Like, even to this day, it would have been kind of nice to have their open field. But yeah, he straight up booted those dudes because they just did not buy into our culture, our team first culture, and like our take dead type of culture. That's a great example. That's a great example. Yep. Car says the Viets have one of the biggest communities in rock since the game was first released. Yeah, the first war we ever fought was against the Vietnamese alliance. Yeah. KZG, I think. Back in 1131. Addy says Viet community is really big right now. I think you pointed it out, and I realized how well the Viets were doing at the minute. Yeah, I noticed it a while ago, right? I noticed it when they started doing really good in Ark and stuff like that. It's because like I was noticing that like the Korean community was shrinking, like the game was becoming less popular in Korea, but like at the same time I was seeing that like the Vietnamese kingdoms were getting bigger, and it just makes you realize like it's like not an international thing. It's not like ROK becomes more or less popular on a global perspective. It's more that ROK becomes more or less popular on a nation perspective or like a cultural perspective, right? You know, what does a Vietnamese speaking person in Vietnam care if a bunch of Americans stop playing this game? Like, what do they care if a few of us stop playing the game? They don't care at all. If anything, it makes their kingdom stronger. It means they can get more wins, right? Because all their friends are still playing, right? Like, if everybody in Vietnam keeps playing, then that means all your friends are still playing, and so you're going to keep playing as well. Whereas, like, in Korea, a lot of people stopped playing, and so a lot of people's friends stopped playing, and therefore those groups broke up. And same thing in the English-speaking community, right? Like, 1254 broke up. 1307 broke up. Those were two, like, really big communities with lots of players, right? And if, like, 75% of your friends quit playing, there's a very good chance that you quit playing as well. Whereas, like, you know, one of the kingdoms, or one of the alliances in 1307, Crowned Beasts, CB, they're still around. And I don't know what language CB speaks, but they did try to recruit me the other day, so maybe we can get some info on them. Where are those dudes? No. Yeah, they tried to recruit me. Where are they? Maybe they deleted their message or something. Huh. Anyway, I think they're in 1846, so or 1486, so we can just check them that way. But let me finish this chain first. But yeah, I mean, basically, like, you know, a non-English speaking alliance from 1307, they literally went to another kingdom and they're like still kicking, right? Because they just probably stuck together. They probably all just kept playing, you know? So I don't know. We have to do something to just like build up more communities in the English-speaking community, right? Like, that, which is kind of why I'm like rooting for 2268 to keep it together. I mean, at the end of the day, they're like a big English-speaking community, and there's like a lot of crossover between their group and our group. You know, so like, it would really suck if 2268, you know, didn't have success in the future, right? Because you want all those people to keep playing. They make the game like way more interesting for the rest of the English-speaking community. Eddie says, Idun told me he just flat out said no to helping defend the flag as they were coming into our zone, and we were holding them off so we could safely enter KL, so yeah, bye. Yep. Algebra says, I got 0 recruitment messages. This KvK GG. That is surprising. I did get one. The Crown Beasts tried to recruit me. Yeah, let's take a look at their... I just want to look at their kingdom real quick. I think they're 1486. I might be wrong, though. I might be wrong. I am wrong. I'm definitely wrong. Let's see if I can find him in the ROK Discord real quick. Oh, they're in 1884. Yeah, these guys tried to recruit me. They advertised themselves as having oh, you know what? It was probably a mail they sent me, actually. Yeah. Yeah, so here's the recruitment message from 184. This is Crown Beasts. If you remember, this is one of the big alliances in 1307. So they've got 12 billion power. They've got 630 billion KP. They're a mid-A kingdom. Former 1307 leaders. International kingdom. One big family looking to have fun and be great together, right? So, like, 1307 fell apart, but there was, like, a big group from that kingdom that just, like, they stuck together. They migrated somewhere that had a chance to, you know, actually have success, because 1307, obviously, like, when everyone quits, it's impossible to rebuild that kingdom. And yeah, you know, they're just still kicking. It's really about the communities that you build, in my opinion. But we're just in a situation now where a lot of people are by themselves, and so they're focused on like their own account. They're focused on their own kill points. They're focused on their little group. Eddie now says, I don't think we have any rivals at the minute. A lot of people probably want the smoke, though. Well, listen, I would love to fight 1903. You know, I think that 1903 does feel that they are better than us. They did beat us at Ark of Osiris. I think we feel we're better than 1903. They feel they're better than us. And that makes for a very good war, right? That makes for a very good war right there. So, I don't know if they're a rival, but I would like to fight 1903. I wouldn't mind fighting 1393. I don't really want to fight 2217. Because I think against 2217 it would be sort of like a mini version of 2268 where like we refuse to fight them on their uptime and then we wait for their downtime and try to make progress then. It would be just kind of a weird war. Addy says he would rather camp ally with 1903. They have a lot of potential. That is true as well. Our absolute best camp allies are people who have really good open field. You know, we'll handle the garrisons and the territory planning, and we'll handle the downtime, and you all can handle the open field, and we'll just get the dub that way. Gustavo, welcome to the stream. Listen, everybody, if you're enjoying the stream, be sure to throw a like on the stream. That helps me get more exposure. I do appreciate everybody hanging out. There might have been some other stuff I was planning to do, but the chat was just kicking off, so you know, it's been an easy stream. I haven't had to put in too much work, which is good because I didn't plan a whole lot. Car says fighting 2217 in OL was fun. Yeah, Car, that's why. That's a big reason why I cast that match, is because I had fought against 2217 before, so I wanted to see how they played an Arc, you know. You know, one thing I do want to do is I just want to look at I want to look at like the A kingdoms in this game right now. Oops, that's not what I want. Yeah, I want to just like look at the A kingdoms in this game and sort of see what the status is. Because I do think there are some matchups that would be pretty interesting, right? Like, I think there's a lot of interesting kingdoms that we could play with. I know the Imperiums are having trouble getting matchups, but I feel like the A kingdoms could get some pretty good matchups. So I mean, right, it'll be interesting to fight some of these newer kingdoms. Like maybe 2934. It'll be interesting to play with 1818 again. 1606, you know, like, I mean, these are kingdoms that are way stronger than us. Like, don't get me wrong, these kingdoms are way stronger than us. But like, there are a lot of like interesting A kingdoms. Look, it'll be fun to fight with or against 1824 again for sure. I mean, 2755 is still kicking around. Sorry, I forget that you can't see this. I forget that you can't see this on your side. 2293. It'll be like, I would love to fight against Chisgul's Restart Kingdom. 2293, right? It's been a while since they had a test. I think they're allied with 2064 right now. So it would be great to be in a KvK with 2293. Car says 1888. I mean, that's like a little big for us, right? Like, that's a little big for us. Like, it'll be great to fight be in a KvK with 1079, right? That would be amazing. It'll be so fun to be in a KvK with 1079. These are people who are like, you know, we've been in related social circles for a long time. They're sort of like us, you know, like, are we better than 1079? Are we worse? Like, it'll be great to find something like that out. Who else? Like 166. Well, 166 wouldn't be that interesting, to be honest. 1903 here. 1903. 1256, right? Two strong kingdoms, two good arc kingdoms. 1256 and 1903. It would be great to be in a KvK with them. Let's see, who else? You know, I would love to fight with 1682 again, the Hawks. I would love to fight with 2064 again. You know, see where they're at. It would be fun to fight Shaki's Kingdom, 2359. There's a lot of like interesting A kingdoms, right? Yes, here's 1682, right? They're in like Nile right now. But I would love to fight either with or against 1682 again. I mean, I don't know. It's just like the game is not, as a lot of people get like a bit more casual. I feel like there's some really good matchups, you know. Brian used Fleisch rank. It shows actual KP. Yeah, I need to get on Fleisch's site. Let me start another Barb Fort rally. I mean, this is just like my life when I play this game now, is I'm just like constantly chaining a couple of marches and like starting barb fort rallies and like joining the barb forts on all my farms. It's just like, I don't know, I'm just like trying to like pump some productivity out when I get the chance. See, I was the first person to join my city rally. Brian Kuh won. Car says we faced 1606 x 2359 water camp in 71. Yep. I wish I had watched that KvK a bit more, you know? Like, now that the spectating tools are better in Rise of Kingdoms, I definitely want to spectate some of these A Kingdom KvKs. I just feel like it'll be pretty interesting. Adding out, so 1682, I would love to fight. They were meant to fight us last KvK, but got thrown in the KvK below us. Yeah, I still think that was one of our worst performances. That zone against 1682 was very winnable. And we just did like a few things badly. Like, we didn't swarm flags enough. I think our territory build was not great. They had like a downtime crew that did an incredible amount of work for them. But yeah, if we had just swarmed flags, if we had like White Castle swarming flags, I literally think we would have won that zone. HGT Nason says, I miss that drama KvK. I don't miss it. Car says, just like 79, Mimi, and 188, they were one of the most powerful camps I've ever seen. Yeah, I love a good camp. I love a good, like, powerful camp. It's wild, you know? And look, you know, we're talking about kingdoms, we're talking about camps. I think we had a good camp. Green was a good camp. 2836 were very good allies. I think Water Camp was a strong camp, you know? I think 1900 complemented AT24 pretty well. And they sort of both did their own thing. And there was discussion. There was discussion about, like, did 2268's allies lose this KvK? Did 2268 engage in ally blaming and stuff like that? And I mean, personally, I think their allies did, like, kind of lose the KvK for them, right? Their allies did lose their one-on-one v1 matchups, and, like, you know, Greenwood did so much more than win camp in this KvK. And so I do think, like, you have to talk about 2268's allies when you talk about this KvK. Like, I think their allies played, like, a lot worse than 2268 did. Like, I still say 2268 played, like, pretty well in this KvK, honestly. So yeah, I mean, I think their allies were, like, a very big part of the loss here. And it's just like one of those things that people just, like, never can deal with, right? It's such an easier narrative to play, to say that like 2268 played bad and the Chisel curse is in full effect. It's so much easier to just discuss that narrative and go with it. It's a lot harder to like actually pull up the contribution points of all these kingdoms and like think about how much you know, every camp plays a role in KvKs, and think about how, like, you know, there are Kingslands. There have been many Kingslands in the history of this game where, like, the weakest camp decides who wins Kingsland. Like, the weakest camp can't hold their flank. They get kicked out of Kingsland very quickly, and then their ally loses a 2v1, right? Like, that happens all the time in this game. And I just think, like, you know, a bad ally is almost just as important as a good ally. Like, a bad ally can screw you over as much as a good ally can help you. And so I just think you have to, like, consider that to be a major factor in this war. But Eddie says, I disagree. I spent a lot of time planning on behalf of our allies, communicating with them, and we did a great job being a team. So that's certainly true, right? You have to enable your allies. And he says, I think 2268 just left them to do their own thing. I mean, that could be true. That could be true. I do think 2268 should have helped Wind Camp on like day 2, day 3 in Kingsland. I think they should have helped. Once we connected to Wind, I think maybe 2268 should have like stopped them or helped them, or even better, they should have stopped us before we could connect to Wind. But I mean, Earth fought with 2268 on the bottom against 1900. Like, to me, that's a very good setup. And I think ultimately Earth did get some very good setups in this KvK. The first good setup that Earth got was when Black Panther broke an agreement and allowed Earth camp into the zone of Gummer, turning a 1 versus 4 into a 2v2. Like, I think one of the big reasons why they did that was because they were pissed that Daybreak was able to contribute so much, and so they wanted to figure out a way for Earth to contribute like Daybreak was. So Earth got to put in some work in Gummer, and then in Kingsland, Earth fought right next to 2268 on a very important front. So I do think Earth was unlocked to sort of like play their best and do as much as they could. Eddie Nava says, if they're going to be a leader, then they have to lead. 2268 could have easily ported to the top and stopped us, but they didn't. They let us burn and gave up. Yeah, I mean, it's a little tough for me to like... You know, I don't like... I mean, maybe, I don't know if I criticize leaders a lot or not. I'm not sure. For some reason, in 2268's case, I'm like not like super comfortable like saying too much about their leaders, just because like I feel like they're pretty young, and I feel like they had a lot of pressure on them, and you know, I don't think they played like bad or anything. I just think like they could have done better. Car, thank you so much for hanging out. Have a good night. Thank you so much for the chat and for giving us that news about the match not found. That's definitely the news of the day for sure. That's almost bigger news than the servers going down for an hour. So yeah, Car, thanks so much for hanging out. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, it's like one of those things, Addy. I don't know. I mean, 2268 definitely... I mean, I do think their biggest weakness was... I think the biggest weaknesses for 2268 were their downtime, their KP chasers, and their leadership. I do think those were their 3 biggest weaknesses. Which for me, the leadership thing for me, like, I just think they pulled the plug so early. Like, it just goes to show that, like, there was probably a lot of pressure on them. And, like, there was probably a lot of second guessing. And like, I don't wish that kind of pressure on anybody. Like, I just don't wish the pressure of the biggest whales in the game on anybody. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just too tough of a job. Like, this KvK ultimately became way too tough of a job for the leadership of 2268. And so, I don't know, it's just like one of those things. Because, like, I'm just not that great of a leader. At the end of the day, I'm just not that great of a leader. I have, like, major stamina problems. I lose my confidence when things are going badly. When people start to second guess me and things are going badly, I lose my confidence, like, very quickly and start to, like, let people, like, vote on everything we're doing. And, like, I'm not good at territory planning. I'm just like not that, like, I'm like smart, but I'm not really smart in like a like deciding things in war type of way. But I just like have been a leader of this alliance for so long that I just like get to do it anyway, and people just like, I'm sort of like forced into the role. And so like for me, like there's not that much pressure on me, and like Addy, there's probably not that much pressure on you either, right? Because like we just all know you're a great leader, and it's like if you screw up sometimes, like, it's okay, because, like, you built the alliance, so, like, who's going to really criticize you? I mean, like, at the end of the day, Addy, there's, like, no one... There's almost no one in our kingdom that's going to criticize you, right? Like, I might criticize you, but, like, other than that, like, literally no one is going to criticize you. Whereas, like, in 2268, there's probably a dozen people who are comfortable criticizing their leadership. Like, at least a dozen people in 2268 will probably, like, blatantly question the leadership, like, to their face, like, on voice chat in front of a bunch of people, right? And so that's, like, a totally different situation than we're in. Like, a totally different situation. And so, like, I don't know, it's just, like... Like, I would never be able to lead 2268. I would be a complete failure at leading that kingdom, I think. I mean, you might be able to, but, like, you would also have way more pressure on you because you would have to, like, start from scratch and prove yourself again. So, I mean, it's a little hard for me to criticize their situation because it's just so different than mine. Addy says, I agree with that, but they're blaming allies when they shouldn't be, and also they talked very big. They definitely had people that did the mid-level tasks, Farmer, Plato, and Peace. And he says that was the plan, though. Cruel plan, but it worked. It is very true. Our plan literally was to, like, break the 2268 leadership, right? Like, when the fort wall was happening and I was just, like, thinking about the rest of the KvK, and just, like, thinking about how, like, Wind had underperformed, Daybreak had underperformed, or Earth had underperformed, Water was fresh... I just said at one point, I was like, this just seems like a very hard KvK for 2268 to win. They could win it, but it's going to take, like, so much freaking work for them to win it. So that was sort of, like, the way I viewed it, and Addy sort of viewed it as, like, we're just going to break them down mentally, we're just going to wear them out mentally. And, like, I do think that worked. Like, I do think that played, like, a pretty big role in the end. He says, I criticize me, but yeah, you are right. I feel the support, absolutely. I also definitely feel the weight of the kingdom, but it's good weight. Enough pressure to support me trying hard. Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel pressure as well, but, you know, at the end of the day, I think, like, on some level, people do... I think on some level, people do realize that I'm being honest when I say that literally, if someone comes along and is a better leader than me and wants to lead, then I will happily take a step back and let that person lead. Like, I will happily step back. I would like to step back. You know what I mean? I would like for someone to come along who can replace me. Then I can stream more. I can just, like, be a bit more of a normal type of player, still contribute a ton, still, you know, run the show when needed. But I would love for that person to come along. You know what I mean? And so at the end of the day, if that person doesn't come along, then all I'm doing is doing the best I can. That's all I'm doing. I'm just doing the best I can. I'm not great. I'm just, you know, good to very good. And I type very fast. I set markers. I contribute a lot, right? But all I'm doing is the best I can, and you have to accept that. You know what I mean? Like, take it or leave it, basically. Pressure. Algebra says pressure to get that 5th star. HTT, you can be the Bacon of 1770. I don't know what Evil Bacon's role is in 2268. I feel like Bacon is a leader. I feel like Bacon is a leader in that kingdom. I mean, like, you know, Captain made, like, a big mistake in this KvK, right? I mean, Captain lost the main alliance for a week. Like, she literally lost the main alliance for a week, right? And number one, I don't think that she probably... I don't think too many people gave her a hard time for it. And number two, Captain was, like, arguable top 5. Even with that massive mistake that Captain made, she is still arguably a top 5 performer for our camp in this KvK. Because she rallied the Koreans on day 2 of Kingsland in a very, very big way. She rallied the Koreans to put in a massive effort that brought us back into the zone, so that when I woke up, I went from thinking, oh, we definitely lost this KvK, to thinking, oh my gosh, we have like at least a 50% chance to win. And all of that happened while I was asleep, and Captain and Addy and Hale were running the show, you know? So it's like, you know, again, somebody like Captain, she can make mistakes, but she's been the leader for so long, and we're like just not that friggin' serious about the game. We're like, we don't spend that much friggin' money. So it's like she can make mistakes, but everybody knows she's doing the best she can, and so she can recover from those mistakes. And so like the vibes kind of stay high. HGT Nation says, I can be the Black Panther of 1770. That sounds a little more accurate. What else was I going to do in this stream? I will go over the Osiris League bets real quick. I have not been betting a ton this season. Let me open up... Oh, here's the contribution. Here's the contribution for all of the kingdoms in this KvK. Okay, so let's look at this. So the enemy had slightly more kill points than us. We had slightly more deads. So on that stat alone, on just the kill points alone, you can see that one, this was a very close KvK. And that it was a little interesting that it ended when it did, because like clearly both sides had roughly the same amount of troops, speed ups, and resources left over, right? So we did 45 billion KP and 386 million deads. Our counterpart on the other side, 1166, well, they did more KP than us. Wow, this is interesting. So they did more KP than us, and roughly the same amount of deads. So on paper, 166 contributed as much stats as 770 did. And then, I believe their other kingdom is 2070, right? I believe 2070 is in wind. Let me, it's kind of bad I don't know this, but I don't know this. I don't think this is them. I'll probably get this answer in. This is 85% of our KB was fighting 2268. It's not the same. No, it's not the same, but it makes me makes me rethink my ally blaming a little bit. Oh, it's 1597. Okay. So 1597 did a lot less than 2836 did. A lot less. And then Earth Camp did 31 billion KP, whereas Daybreak did 39. Daybreak did like 400k deads, whereas Earth did even more deads, 533. I mean, on paper, this is like pretty even between the allies, huh? On paper, this is pretty even between the allies. And then 2268 did way more KP than Water Camp did as well. Although Water Camp took more deads. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I'll be honest, looking at this, looking at these stats, I would say that 2268's allies did more than I thought, right? They did more than I thought for sure, based on like what people have been saying over the last 5 or 6 days. Yeah, based on these numbers, Fire Camp's allies did more than I thought. So, yeah, I mean, maybe ally blaming is not too appropriate here. I'm gonna go to the 1875 KvK real quick. I'm gonna grab something to eat like real quick, and also go to the bathroom, And then we'll look over the Osiris League bets. And probably wrap up the stream after that. Oh, actually, I'm going to open some armaments as well. I'll also open some armaments when I get back, so please please throw a like. Please throw a like on the stream. And I will be right back. Popo says, well, Daybreak did more than Wind. I don't know. Wind did a lot according to the kill points. Didn't we just see that Wind has more KP than us? Yeah, 166 has more kill points than us. That's like wild, man. I mean, granted, we fought against 2268 the whole time, but still. I guess that means that our kill points are depressingly low. I don't know what to make of that, honestly. I guess we just fought like a very tough opponent, but still. It's kind of it's just very weird to like, because we just like ripped through Wind Camp, right? Once we started touching Wind Camp, we absolutely ripped through them in like 15 hours tops. So it's very weird for them to have like more KP than us. That's like very, very strange. Guan Garrison for 1486. All right. Banks says 24-hour stream. Let's go, dude. The last YouTube content creator who did a 24-hour stream was Grey Worm, and he hasn't been seen since, basically. So, no 24-hour stream for me. All right. Are we going to open the armaments, or do I have to think about this more? Am I really going for more arch formation? Oh my gosh. Am I really going for arch? Let me open these random ones, because then I don't have to make a choice. All right, one legendary here for Hollow Square. Absolutely nothing on that, so we can recycle all these. And let's open these three. You know, I am starting to get the impression that Hollow Square might be a little bit underrated. I saw some 1900 rallies that were using Hollow Square. And I feel like Anna's Jan Hera on Hollow Square performed quite well. Godstray, welcome to the stream. Thank you for the membership. Really appreciate it. I'm gonna open half of these armaments for Arch because I don't know why. Because I have to, I guess. But I'm not gonna open all of them because I might change my mind and do Wedge instead. I can't believe I'm opening these for Arch. This really hurts, honestly. All to get a pity roll. All to get a pity roll in the slot that I need. Nothing there. Another bulk recycle. Thank you to all the members who support my content so much. Algebra's been in the chat tonight. Seb has been in the chat. Guys Straight's been in the chat. Really appreciate it. I will try to stream as often as I can. I do plan to spectate some KvKs. And it is the members who largely motivate me to do that. Really appreciate it. So we're really just rooting for any legendaries because we're just trying to get to that pity roll. We're trying to get to that pity roll. And we have a long, long way to go. So it is what it is. No, there's no reason to save that one. Nope. And let's open 7 of these legendaries and see if we can get anything good here. We don't mind a good infantry arch armament either, but our infantry arch set is actually extremely good already. Okay, a couple inscriptions. A couple inscriptions here. One in the horn slot, which is what we need. So who knows, maybe we have something good here. Nothing there. Gold gathering there, plus siege health. Very low rolls on this one. Just 3% cav defense on this flag. I have plenty of flags. Low rolls and siege stats on this one. Let's now take a look at the scroll here. Let's take a look at the scroll. Pulverize with some pretty good cav stats. What is pulverize? Whenever the wielder's troop launches any type of basic attack, it is a 10% chance to gain a 20% bonus to all types of normal attack damage dealt for 1 second. Cooldown 5 seconds. So the cooldown is pretty rough here. But it's basically 2%. Wait, 20%. Yeah, so it's 2% normal attack damage for 1 second. That's 1% all damage or 2.5% of stats, but the cooldown makes that even less. So this is probably like 1 to 1.5% of stats. Pretty bad inscription here, if I'm not wrong. If I'm not wrong, Pulverize is really bad, right? So I don't even think I saved that. Oh, now here's Evasive. Evasive is good, right? Oh, 2% less counterattack damage of all types. Absolutely no stats here. I don't think I saved this. I don't think I care about this at all. I don't think I save either of these. Is there any world where Pulverize is good? It just doesn't seem like it. I'll lock this one for now, just... Wait, why can't I lock this? Anyway, why am I not able to lock this? Anyway. Alright, absolutely nothing in the armaments. Goodbye, welcome to the stream. We're getting close to the end here, but let's take a look at the Osiris League bets here. If there's anything viable. And I do have a little bit of extra info here, courtesy of Lilith, so let me open that up. Oh, I'm not going to show you guys, but... Oops, I guess I am going to show you. Oh. There we go. Alright, so the Osiris League bets here. I have not been betting a lot, but I have enough coins to buy out the shop. First and foremost, I do think a bet on 188 here makes a lot of freaking sense. The odds are so good. So good. The odds on 188 are incredibly good. They beat 93L last week by 20k, which is more than 93T beat 188's second team by. So I'm like very surprised at these odds. And I actually think 188 is like a very good bet here. I don't think they're going to win, but I think they have a fighting chance. And at these odds, all you want is a fighting chance. WIB versus 16OT is very interesting. I'm not casting this match, but if I were casting this match, I would do additional research. And I would look to see... What would I look to see? I would look to see how dominant 698K was mid, or how dominant 16OT was mid against 698K. They were quite dominant mid against 1393. And WIB's mid performance like absolutely baffles me. Richard, welcome to the stream. Goodbye says he placed a 2k bet on 188. Yeah, it's a great bet. It's honestly a great bet. Because you don't have to risk much and you can just like win a ton. WIB's open field, or WIB's mid performance baffles me right now because they lost 3 mid fights to Vita. They literally lost 3 mid fights to Vita. And then they won every mid against JST. Like, what is that? And Vita barely lost to JST. So I just don't even understand, like, what happened here, right? I would need to go back and watch the WIB versus JST fight to see how those mid fights went down. But I think there's a possibility here that 16OT wins mid, right? I think there's a possibility that 16OT wins mid. So these odds aren't great, but this is a pretty interesting match, actually. But let's move on to Anubis, because people are talking about that. They're talking about GV versus 60GT. Great Z, thanks for being here. Good to see you as well. So this is the match that Chisel and I are going to cast. We're going to cast 60GT against GV77. And it looks like some people in my chat are betting on GV77. Let me take a look at some info here on this real quick. Because Lilith does make a PDF about the matchups every week, which are pretty helpful. Alright, so GT has won Anubis 3 seasons in a row. They've won Anubis 3 seasons in a row. GV77 won... GV77 ranked 11th in Anubis last season. They ranked 11th. That's very low. That's very, very low. GV77 had a very... So, GV77 has had a very strange road to this point. Easy win in the first round. Then they had a very big win against 60MX, where like they were in KvK. They were in Kingsland. They were in Kingsland, but they managed to beat 60MX. This was a big win for GV77. From what I saw, 60MX did some questionable stuff in this match. They cast to the death like halfway through a mid-fight and then lost that mid-fight anyway. And I don't think 60MX was a you know, their normal selves in Osiris League this season. I think they were a bit weaker than they normally are. And then SV68 didn't even show up last week, or weren't able to score any points last week. So, can GV77 compete with GT here? Here's the research that I need to do for this match, and I will do this research this weekend. For me, the question is this. So look, the odds are definitely good on GV77. The odds are definitely good here, and I will bet on them here. I'm going to publicly bet on the match that I'm casting, because that's how the old school sports broadcasters that I love, like Brent Musburger, do it, right? They bet on the games they commentate on. It just makes it more fun, right? The question I have about this match is basically like, is the shot caller for 60 GT the same shot caller as they've had in the past, right? We know that Leopard left, or retired. We know that Fish retired, but I don't think Fish was the shot caller, because I think, if I'm not wrong, I think Fish even cast some of 60 GT's matches. I don't know if Leopard was the shot caller or not, and to me, that's like the real question here. I need to go back, I need to watch some of their old matches, and I need to see who is casting skills. Alternatively, I could potentially message Seawill and ask Seawill if the shot caller is the same or not. I think that's very important. I think it's very important as to whether the ARC leadership of GT is the same or not. GT has typically overpowered their opponents. They've had better equipment than their opponents, better armaments, etc. I think that with the Awakening system in place now, they likely do have a equipment advantage over GV77, and I think that will be a very important part of this match. This is making me realize I need to have more like in-depth analysis of this match somehow. I need to somehow have better analysis of this. Because the truth is I haven't watched either of these teams all that much over the years. I do feel like GT like doesn't play ARC like amazingly well. They're not like amazingly organized, and they did lose to 1093 last season when the equipment was the same. But if I'm not mistaken, they did take a game from 1093. So I just think so maybe GT is actually great at ARC, and I do think GV77 has not really played at this level of competition much, and so I do think GT has like a very, very good chance to win this match. And then here my impression is just that 1EE has sort of overperformed at this point. They've won a bunch of close matches. I mean, they barely beat FCK. They barely beat 60MX. So it's really hard for me to imagine that 2489 is going to do anything other than just overpower 1EE8 mid. And they also beat FCK by like way more points, right? 1489 beat FCK by way, way more points than 1E than Evil Empire did. Not way more, but significantly more. So to me, this matchup kind of like explains itself. The past matchups and comparing the past matchups sort of explains itself. The thing you can do on these matches, though, like on this match, what we can do is we can just bet money on these props, like who's going to be the total kill leader, who's going to be the provision score leader, occupation, etc. Like, we could just bet total kills on 489 because, like, they're so much stronger on paper than Evil Empire that we could just bet on them to win the total kills. And you can max bet 200, but, I mean, yeah, I think this is, like, a very good bet, actually. So we'll just put the 200 on 489 to win in total kills against Evil Empire. In Bastet, you know, not too much to say about these matches, but let's see if we can bet on 748W here. They're obviously a huge favorite. Let's see if we can bet on them as well. We cannot. You can only do one single bet. Okay. Then the other match that Chisgul and I are casting is 17C against 27WP. The thing I have to figure out about this match is somebody said that, or 12-inch was telling me that 17C beat Baba and the other big whale. I need to learn his name. Ekram or whoever it is. But I don't know if they beat him in ARC or if they beat him in KvK. So I need to figure that out. I need to figure that out. Because that's just like an interesting insight to share with people. So let's see. What do I know about this matchup? Let's see. What do I know about this matchup? So 3217 is a 1-star alliance. They've never been in Sobek before. 3227 is a 0-star alliance. There's really no info here, is there? I don't know anything about these teams. What am I gotta research a little bit later, but let's be real. I don't know anything about either of these teams. I probably need to figure a bit out before the match, but you know, it's Sobek. Everybody tune in to watch some Sobek action on Sunday, please. Godfrey says, and actually GT has Osno now. That's very, that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting for sure. Seba says, yo, what was that? I'm not sure what flashed up. But yeah, you know, that's about it, y'all. Appreciate everybody hanging out. Oh, yeah, Seba, that was the best of Matba. That was the best of Matba. I was showing some Matba greatest hits from LKC. Because, you know, we had our own opinionated analysis of 2268 earlier. I wasn't planning on going so deep on their kingdom, but you know, as a content creator, I'm not gonna lie. This was like a great KvK for me to win. Like, this was legitimately a great KvK for me to win because, you know, who knows what like podcasts I'm gonna do with you know, people like Plato and Bus Driver and maybe even Chisel in the future. Who knows like whose streams I'm gonna be on, all that stuff. And to have a KvK win against them is just like, I don't even need to ever like talk about it. You know, like I never even need to bring it up. In fact, it's probably like counterproductive for me to bring it up, but to just have those like silent bragging rights against all these other content creators is like literally amazing. Like, it's just amazing. So I don't know, I'm just loving that. And if we had lost my content for this KvK, it would have been so much worse. It would have been so whiny. I would have whined about the pay to win gap in this game like so freaking much that you all would have gotten sick of it. You all literally would have gotten sick of me for how much I complained about it. But we won, so I haven't talked about it at all. And you know, that's literally just being results oriented. Like, that's literally letting results affect my mood and what I have to say in a very thorough way. But I'm good with it, you know? I like being in a good mood. I beat Chisco Plato and KvK, here's how I did it. Yeah. Well, that kind of analysis is the kind of stuff that I will put on my stream, because I can just like bury it in a stream and not that many people watch it. So like I think my most controversial takes are going to be on my streams, because when you make a video out of it, then it can get a lot of attention and you can get a lot of backlash. But when you just like bury your most controversial takes in like hour 2 of a live stream, like, it's there for people who enjoy your content. It's there for people who are interested in what you have to say, but like no one else ever hears it, so you really don't get any heat for it. And there I am missing another chain. GG. I do have a little bit more, I have like a video of LKC one night when I was complaining about the whole like broken agreement controversy. So I do want to kind of cover that in a later live stream. just discuss sort of like the logical fallacies of some of the LKC chatters. But we'll save that one for the next one. We've got a lot of like video footage. Here, as we're wrapping up, let me just I'll show a bit of video footage. I'll give you like guys like a preview of like what I want to talk about next week on a live stream. I'll have to, how will I find this? I want to show the, like the pass opening basically. Yeah, here it is. I want to show the pass opening basically. Because the funny thing is, like, we actually won. We actually, like, won the first open field fight. Oh, here it is. Here, let me mute this. So one of the, like, fun things that I do get to do sometimes is set the ball markers for, like, the very first fights of a zone. And it's just, like, it's just fun, right? There's, like, actually, like, maneuvering that has to take place. There are definitely people who are better at, managing these early zone balls than others. Oh, maybe this is the fight. Yeah, here it is. I think this is the fight. Yeah, so basically, like, the first fights took place around the, they took place around this circle of courage, basically. And, we knew that Fire Camp was splitting their forces, right? Like, this is something they said on their stream, where, like, we knew that they were going to have one group go to the Daybreak Pass, and they were going to have one group fight us. And so because we knew that, we thought maybe we could actually fight them in the open field early on. And so one of the things I'll cover on the stream next week, either on Friday or earlier on, is I will go over these early ball fights. Because, number one, we actually did kind of good in a few of them. And number two, it was like, when I moved a ball marker, everyone actually followed. So, like, we got over-aggressive at the beginning of this first ball fight. And then what we actually ended up doing was we, like, retreated. We retreated to the... to our side of this circle. And because we did that, we just were closer to our cities, and the enemy got stretched out a little bit. And we actually did win, like, the very... this is not the first ball fight, but we could just watch this for a second. We did win the very first ball fight of this KvK, and that was honestly one of my highlights, because, like, it put everyone in a good mood, right? It put everyone in a freaking good mood. And so, like, our vibes on the very first day of this KvK, they just got off to a good start. Like, instead of getting absolutely wrecked in the field from the very beginning, and instead of people thinking, like, who is this idiot with the loud keyboard setting the ball markers? Which is 100% what our campmates thought in our last big war. They 100%, their leaders 100% thought I was a complete idiot right when the passes opened. Instead of thinking that, we actually, like, won a few of these fights, and everyone was in, like, a good mood the whole day. So, I don't know, I just really enjoyed I just really enjoyed the pass opening this time, because, like, we just had such good vibes the whole way. And that set us up later on in the day to defend against fort drops and stuff like that. It kept the vibes up high enough on the voice that, like, Daybreak's leaders hung out on voice chat, like, all day. And therefore, when Fire Camp did their fort drops and we were, like, calling for Daybreak to come and help us, their leaders were still on voice. They heard those calls for help, and then they brought their army over to help us with the fort drops. And that was, like, a absolutely huge part of us being able to get those forts down, which was, like, a very important part of the KvK as a whole, right? So, you know, there's just, like, so many things that happen in war, and a lot of them are luck based, but some of them are sort of like effort-based and chemistry-based, and, you know, just having a very good team of people. It's never about just one or two people. It's about having a team of people. And the thing we realized when we jumped on voice chat on this first day, or what I realized, some people might have known this already, but what I realized was like, oh, there's like a ton of really good leaders in 2836. Like, there were a bunch of people from 2836 like giving good information on voice, and everyone was following the markers, and we were like filling up our forts, all that stuff. Like, we executed very well on day one. And, you know, that's like always like very cool to realize. When you realize that you have a camp mate, a fellow kingdom that you can work well with, that are good enough at this game that you can work well with them, that is a great friggin' feeling, and that really sets you up well. Let's see. I'll AI Brian to make a shocked face. A shocked face. I do need more emojis. If anybody has a good idea for emojis, please give them to me. People don't seem to like the sad face. I thought the sad face was a good one. Maybe I need to make the maybe I need to like make it better. Maybe I need to make the emoji better. Maybe I need to like hire somebody on Fiverr to make the emoji better. It might be a little bit small. I'm not sure. I don't know. I feel like the sad face is pretty good, man. I don't know. Oh, Rexian. Rexian, welcome to the stream. Good to have you here. He says 748. 748 has their KL against you right now. Okay, let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at that. 748 is in KL right now. That face only good on enemy march. True. 748's in KL. Okay. Yeah, somebody else was saying that the Battle Bunnies have been pretty good at Arc over the years. I mean, the Battle Bunnies have 4 stars. And someone was saying they were good at Arc, so... And if 748's in KvK, then... Then this seems like a very good bet, no? Battle Bunnies at these odds seems like a very good bet. So let's put 1,000 on them as well. Yeah, cool. Thank you for the Alpha, Rexian. And good luck in Kingsland. Let's take a quick look at Rexian's Kingsland. Rexian, former member of 1770, and definitely one of the people who I miss playing with most. Melk says, I'm touching myself to your voice, bro. Well, Melk, the thing is, at this point in the stream, I actually, like, calm down a little bit. I chill out a little bit. I'm, like, sitting back in my chair, and I'm not, like, yelling into the microphone. I think when the stream starts, and, I get kind of excited and stuff, I start yelling into the mic. And my voice is not quite where I want it to be. Alright, so this is Nile. Okay, so they're in Nile. And there's here's 748, turquoise. And then Rexian's in 2134. Oh, so they're right next to each other. Interesting. This is a very interesting looking Nile. This blue camp has been completely left alone. Completely left alone. While 748 and Rexian's camp battle over here. Very interesting. Let's see. Okay, so we've got Rexian's team in blue here. I want you to yell at me. You know, I thought, Melk, I thought your name was familiar, but it's because there used to be a Dota 2, a famous Dota 2 player called Melk. Right? He was like a professional Dota 2 player. Melk, right? That was his name. Oh, Milk. Yeah, there was a Dota 2 player named Milk way back in the day. All right, so Osiris League semifinalists bridging or flagging towards Rexian over here. Legion of Boom. Oh, they won very recently. Oh wow, Rexian's kingdom is on fire. They've won their last 2 KvKs. Is Benny in this kingdom? Is Benny in 748 or something? Pirate Paco. I have played with against Pirate Paco before, I feel. Haven't I? Pirate Paco's a very familiar name. I don't think this is Paco from 2217, though. I think this is like a different Paco. Maybe I'm confusing the two. The spectating is so good in this game now. Just being able to see some marches in blue is like amazing, dude. Alright, so let's see what's happening here. They're building this flag. The flag has a ways to go. These guys, do they have an extinguish on this flag? I don't know. Their ball is not big enough to assault this flag up here. This flag looks like it's getting built. And then look at how hard these flags are to defend here. They never gathered these tiles. Look at these tiles, man. They haven't even started to gather these tiles. Look at this. They're getting the tiles back here. Shout out to Black Bee Farm. You're the real MVP. Black Bee Farm is the real MVP here, because look at how hard these flags are to defend. You've got the wood node here. You've got like almost no teleport. You've got a little bit of teleport space, I assume, but not a lot. Not a lot. And then you got to get rid of these lohars. Like, why are these? Why is nobody getting rid of these lohars? You got to get set up. You know it's coming. You know the rally is coming like in 12 minutes. You got to get these flags set up right now. Jimmy, the FKN goat. It's too late, Jimmy. It's too late, Jimmy. It is too late. But at least clear these lohars out, right? The ball from 748 getting bigger and bigger. I immediately regret betting against them in Osiris League. Their ball is just... They have such big balls. Corgi? Corgi is... That's a name. That name is familiar. Corgi? I guess not. Benny is in 748. Benny is Hinabot. Is it actually Benny? Is it actually Benny? You know, it depresses me that Benny migrated to another kingdom and is actually playing. That is depressing. That is depressing, bro. Oh my gosh. I miss Benny. Benny's like one of the best players I've ever played with. And he left. Oh my gosh. Big balls better than small balls. You know, Krishy, I've been on stream for like over 3 hours, and that is those are the truest, and I've been talking the whole damn time. And those are the truest words spoken yet. Big balls better than small balls. Yep. Although big balls can lead you to do stupid things. Oh, that is really too bad that Benny left. That is really too bad. I want to see these two balls fight, but I feel like they might just stand and do nothing. It feels like they might stand and do nothing. 3 stars here for KME. They won fairly recently as well. I mean, looking at it on paper, 2748 seems a little bit OP to be playing Nile, no? They seem a little too strong to be playing Nile. I mean, they have 5 stars. They're in the semifinals of Osiris League. They were good enough for Benny to migrate to them. On the one hand, they seem a little OP to be in Nile, but Addy, this is what I'm talking about, dude. This looks fun to me. This looks very fun to me. To be the dominant alliance in Nile and still get fights. You're still getting fights. You're going to just win. But you're getting fights. I mean, these dudes probably fought you at the altars and stuff, too. So, like, honestly, right now, 748's having a bunch of fun, man. They're, like, sitting on voice. They're joking around. They, like, know they're going to win. And they're just having fun. They're just having fun. HDT says, nah, Nile is trash. Please do not do Nile. Don't do it. Benny said they're 1v3, but I told him to beat a Rex, and he said, okay. Yeah, 1v3. Like, they're 1v3. Oh, maybe they're gonna... Maybe they're... Okay, so now they're touching blue. Now they're touching blue over here. Blue is flagging towards them. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. This is the... I mean, this is, like, beyond Freeburn. This is literally no one even here. This is no one even here. So... They're 1v3, but it's really 1v2, because look at this. What is this? What is this camp doing? What is this camp doing? 5 stars! They have 5 stars! What is this camp doing? What is this camp down here doing? Oh, are they... Oh, here's Benny. Yeah, here's Benny. Possibly the greatest player to play in 770 of all time. I mean... Alright, here's the greatest players in 770 history, right? Addy Navo. Big Bro. Well, wait, who am I blanking on right now? I just had somebody... I had, like, a really good deep cut. Oh, Addy Navo, Big Bro, Benny, White Castle, and Pei. Those are the top 5. Pei, aka Honey Bear. So those are the top 5 players. Who is the best of all time in 770? That's hard to say. It's really between Benny. The best player in 770 history is really between Benny and Addy Navo, honestly. I mean, Big Bro was a great player, but he wasn't here for long enough. And Pei is very good, but he's like not anywhere near the whale level of like White Castle or Big Bro. And I mean, Addy's not that great. Addy goes entire like long multi-hour stretches without even sending his marches out of his city. So I guess you have to say Benny is the best player in 770 history. Addy Navo says Big Bro is the best. He didn't play long enough. And he lost one KvK. He lost a somewhat winnable KvK in Light vs Darkness. We drastically misplayed Light vs Darkness. Drastically misplayed it. We didn't swarm a single flag. When Kingsland in Light vs. Darkness opened, we had 150 plus players online. We covered the entire field, and we never once swarmed their flags. We never once swarmed their flags. And Big Bro was like 300 million power. So, like, we really misplayed Light vs. Darkness. We might not have won anyway, but it's hard for me to give it to Big Bro when he only played 2 KvKs and he lost one of the 2. Big Bro wasn't here for that? Yes, he was. Yes, he was. He was here. I remember that he was here. Yeah, Big Bro was here. Yep. Because I remember him in zone... I remember him, like, after Kingsland. I mean, I know what you're saying. Like, he wasn't rallying, because, like, Supreme was rallying. But, like, I remember fighting next to Big Bro. I remember fighting next to Big Bro. I remember fighting right next to Big Bro. Anyway, this KvK is looking a little rough for Turquoise. They don't have a lot of territory. The only thing that they have going for them is that this camp here... Like, I don't understand what this camp is doing. Oh, they're down here. Oh, okay. So Turquoise actually has this purple alliances, or purple coalition as well. Purple has 2 coalitions, actually. That's what's going on. So Purple has 2 coalitions. They're pushing this camp out. This camp is on literal free... I mean, what is this camp doing, man? What is this? What is this effort from an entire camp? Look at this. Like, why... Look at this. What are they doing right here? What is this? The enemy has like 7... I guess they have enough cities, but 1841. This doesn't look like a 1v3. Aren't there like 6 camps in this or something? This looks more like maybe a 2v4 or something like that. Let's see what's going on up here. Has these balls fought yet? These balls have to fight. Okay, they healed the flag. All right, we gotta fight. We gotta fight here, everybody. We have a fight to wrap up this stream. KvK 3, Light vs. Darkness? Yeah, I must be thinking of somebody else. I must be thinking of some other whale, I guess. His alt! Addy, it was his alt. His alt was here for KvK 3. His alt was here for KvK 3. I think it was his alt that was here. Alright, so here we go. 748 pushing in, trying to get field control for the final burn on this not incredibly important flag. Hard flag to defend. You cannot teleport cities all around it. They're coming in with the... You know, the ball for blue here seems very unsure of itself. It's not going in hard. This is an example of a fight where the aggressor has every advantage. They have the numerical advantage, which is nice, but the numerical advantage gets magnified by their aggression. They charge in, they tell their players to fight aggressively, And so they are sure of themselves. They are sure of what they should be doing. They are going forward. They are attacking until they sad face. You just attack, attack, attack until you sad face. Whereas blue was not sure what to do. Do we run? Do we fight? Do we dance? Do we go in hard? Every single blue march had a different opinion about what to do there. So even though their ball was maybe 2/3 as big as the red ball, they literally didn't kill anyone from red and their entire ball got wiped. Because aggression plus numbers is just a very nice combination. Not because of some, like, you know, mechanical or extra numerical advantage. It's just because of the execution advantage. It is very easy to execute as the aggressor when you have the edge, because you just charge in very aggressively and you attack, attack, attack. And that is just best practice. That's how you do it. So this looks like a very easy burn here. They're swarming the Gorgo. The rally appears to be quite full. I can't find the rally, but it's there somewhere. Looks like maybe a Nevsky rally. Hard to click on the rally, but anyway. The Gorgo's hanging in there. No counter rally yet. Doesn't seem like a lot of swarming. We're not able to see this rally. I should have seen what kind of... Oh, it's a Henry rally. It was a Henry rally. Yep. It was a Henry rally on this Gorgo garrison. Henry Zug. Pretty good rally for this situation. You know, it definitely hurts. It hurts to swarm a Henry Zug. It's not the least swarmable rally in the game, but a good solid rally when you don't have an artifact. And you can see that the health bar on the Henry is quite a bit higher than the Gorgo. And this burn is coming any moment now. Any moment we're going to see the burn. There it is. No big deal. Didn't even look like a heavy swarm. Rally stayed up the whole time. Not much pressure. Easy does it. Very nice win for 748R there. Right in the face of Frost Queen. Frost Queen had a front row seat for her kingdom getting wrecked there. But she does have a lot of power left to lose in this Nile KvK. And, you know, I expect we will see the Frost Queen zero herself in the coming hours and days. Which is what we also saw from 2268. We saw their players zero themselves, so... If it's good enough for 2268, then, of course, it's good enough for the Frost King, or Frost Queen as well. So, that's the latest from Nile. I know everybody cares so much about Nile, so now you know what's going on there. And I do appreciate everybody hanging out tonight. Hopefully you were able to chain some barbarians yourself while you listened to me ramble on. And if you didn't chain any barbs, and if you're, you know, in a bad mood for some reason, just think about this. At least the servers are online. And with that, I will see you all on the flip side.